Good time zone, everyone. Good time zone, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. It is I, Almantas, former professor, current VTuber, and I hope you are all having a lovely day. My day is about to get quite a bit better because I have been joined here by VexxingCat.
Hello, everyone.
Would you like to introduce yourself, Vex?
Absolutely. Hello, if you haven't met me or seen my content before, my name is VexxingCat. I am a librarian, retro librarian tiger. I read classical literature, poetry, and occasionally play various video games.
And Vex is a dear friend, and she's been very active over on my Discord and has been doing some very wonderful content lately. And I'm very grateful that she felt like that it was worth her time to take some time out of her busy streaming and content creating schedule to talk with me a little bit about what she's been up to and about some parts of literature that are a bit of a weakness for me. Let's do the hellos. Let's do the hellos. Good afternoon, Mokaba. Hello, Seribot. Hello, me. Hello, Jarfi. Hello, Mushibu. Hello, Valis, who appears to be coming from you, Vex. Valis, I apologize. Hello, Space Circus, and hello, Stressed Owl. And hello, Mango Tarty. And hello to all of the lurkers, the VOD watchers, and the soon-to-be lurkers. It is wonderful to have all of you here today, and I am looking forward to this conversation. This is going to be a very chatting-heavy stream, I believe. Let's start off easy. How are you doing today, Vex?
Overall, quite well. It has been a slow morning for me today. I was doing some research on a future book, and I was also trying to determine the situation with The Last Unicorn. The book was actually produced in 1968, but the author is still alive as far as I'm aware. He just got the rights back to his book series in 2021 due to, I guess, the manager of his content was fraudulent and did a bunch of terrible things, but he just got access. So, but he's still alive and under pre-1978 copyright law until they're dead.
So let's.
I can't cover their content.
So let's explain this a little bit. Let's explain this a little bit for the folks watching, because some people might not be familiar with copyright law in general, and particularly not American copyright law and how it relates to content creation. So, Vex, would you mind explaining what this deal is with 1968 law and people being dead and whatnot?
So prior to 1978, the law stated, at least the U.S. law stated, that when the content became public domain and copyright free, meaning that anybody could use it, was no more than 50 years after an author died. 50. So anything prior to 1978, most of it is becoming available now in public domain. Examples would be like some famous Disney characters are now available. Various books from that time period are also available. It's why I kind of cover the 19th century, 20th century content early. But after 1978, they changed the law US side to 95 years after date of publication. So, and during that time, obviously, authors and writers of all kinds can sell their content, right, for publication, turn it into movies and rights and what have you, or they can sell the rights away completely. But even then, their content under the copyright law does not expire until 95 years after they die. So if they're still alive today, I'm gonna need to wait a really long time. Well, I have noticed other elocutionists, other librarians, readers are covering more modern content, and I haven't determined yet whether that is okay on this platform, so I needed to do more research on that content.
Yes. And there's a thing that is probably worth talking about a little bit in this is fair use. And how fair use interplays with this, because a sort of bald reading of this question of like, how are you allowed to use this content might produce, I've seen people have this thought that in a movie review you would not be allowed to use stills from the movie in your movie review, and you absolutely are. You absolutely are. That is considered fair use, because the question is kind of a matter of how much is your new content versus a complicated way of repackaging and reselling somebody else's content. Which is a hot button issue within the VTubing, and I should say streaming community, where sometimes people will do React content that is perceived, rightly or wrongly, as an excuse to just post somebody else's content and have it be viewed by your viewers and have it count towards your metrics. But in the case of readers, that does feel like it might be a little bit complicated. I feel like that's an important part of this.
Yeah, it's a little bit confusing because, like, I know everything that I have chosen to read thus far in my streams, all of it is public domain. Some of it I get from the Library of Congress, sometimes I get it from the Gutenberg Project, anything, and I have to research and make sure, one, the author is dead for,
Yeah.
you know, like, and how long, like, James and the Giant Peach is something I wanted to cover, but even though that the author has passed away, their content was released after 1978, so I have to adhere to the U.S. Laws. Now, I do think fair use would be discussing like excerpts from the book or my thoughts and opinions, the cover of the book, etc., etc. I think all of that would be fine.
Absolutely, yes.
I just get a little squiffy because I'm reading the content in its entirety in most cases, and I feel like that isn't, I mean, am I attributing to the author? Absolutely. Am I providing links to the content for the author and like recommending them highly for other people to pursue? Absolutely. But I am still sharing their content under my voice on my platform that is monetized.
Yep, and an important element there, of course, is that usually for book authors, an important right that they retain for their own economic security and so forth is the right to license audiobooks. And, you know, there'd be a question of how much are you infringing on their right to control audiobooks made of their work. And this is why I have not done something that I would like to do, which would be a reading of Goodnight Moon. I have done calligraphy of Goodnight Moon on my channel, and I think the fact that I'm doing calligraphy of it is transformative enough that I'm not particularly worried about it. But I think that if I did a reading of it, even if I did it over the calligraphy and thus made the content not the watching me do the process or the calligraphy itself, but made it very central that I am the text, centering the text very much in the experience of the text, I think I might be in hot water for that. And I am unsure precisely where that one falls, because the author's been dead for a minute, but the copyrights are very long. So, hello, Karatsun. So that is a significant factor, and it is something that I think both of us probably think about. That I think, and hello, Glassman. When we're talking to an audience who is currently watching people on Twitch, they tend to want to talk about and think about relatively modern pieces of art. It is already kind of enough of a stretch to get people to watch retro games, especially if you don't don't have a specific retro gaming thing, let alone 100+ year old art. And so there's a part of us that I think wants to really engage with much more modern things, and that's of course what Book Talk does. Over on Book Talk, they are mostly engaging with books that have come out in the last like 6 months.
6 months, year to 2 years, probably max.
Yeah. Books that came out when I was in even graduate school would be considered very old news, I think. And we are, of course, because of the way the copyright works, really encouraged, really pushed to engage as much as possible with, frankly, pre-World War I art, which is quite old.
You'd think that, but in modern context, like I'm reading stuff from 1908, 1911, and that's like over 100 years ago, and it doesn't even seem like it's that long.
Well,
in the greater scheme of things.
I mean, if you look at the books that I recommend, there's a lot of books like And Forgive Them Their Debts, or Life in Society in the Hittite Empire, and I'm currently reading Calamity, The Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse, and its effect on Renaissance Italy, and that qualifies as relatively modern history by my considerations, because I've been reading Bronze Age history so much. I love Bronze Age. I keep on reading things about history from 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 years ago, and so to me, when I think about 100 years ago, I'm like, oh, that's practically the present day. Is that even history? But when we're engaged with a community where I was having a conversation last night on the Discord where things that people were talking about that were 5 years old felt dated, and that is it is interesting to kind of have this sort of dual vision, I suppose, as a VTuber who is engaging with a lot of this older art. Because 1908's this is actually kind of a fun one, because this is the type of nerd I am. Vexx was accusing me of being a nerd before he got on stream, by the way.
It's true.
Yeah, it's true. She called me a big old nerd. When Vexx was reading Anne of Green Gables, there were some monetary values that came up, and immediately, totally intuitively, I broke out the inflation calculator. Have a good night, Macabre. Have a good night.
For context, in Anne of Green Gables, she's awarded this Avery Award to go to a university, and that is a 4-year award of $250 a year. And then we did the inflation equivalent was like almost $8,000, I think it was.
Yes, it depended a little bit.
Year.
Yeah, it depended a little bit on the particular inflation calculator. One person came up with 8,500. I used the BLS data, which doesn't actually go back to 1908. It only goes back to 1913, and I came up with 7,800, I believe. And
I'll meet in the middle and just say around $8,000, but $8,000 a year.
Yep.
Nobody in their right mind can live off.
Well,
it's like.
and it was also kind of well, first of all, second of all, the part of it that I found kind of fun was I also compared it to historical data on college. On college tuitions, and so I was able to find the fastest one I was able to find was Wharton, which is a very prestigious university in the United States. I've known a couple of Whartons in my life, and they're fancy folks. Tends to get you pretty far in life to have gone to Wharton. And Wharton tuition today is about 53,000, I think. Annual tuition, and in 1908 it was I believe $100. So it went from paying I think it was $150 actually. So it went from paying 160% of tuition when Anne of Green Gables, when Anne was alive, and the fictional Anne was getting 160% of her tuition from that scholarship, and today it would have been 15% of your tuition. This is the kind of nerd I am. That showcases how inflation can be a complicated and misleading set of numbers to look at.
Also, the artificial inflation of the cost of tuition for colleges is
I Yes.
Horrible.
Well, inflation is just prices, and prices are set by people. It's all equally artificial. But in the case of, it is always worth. It is an interesting element, I suppose, of economics. I'm sorry, I'm getting really off of track of things that you want to talk about. It is an interesting part of economics that some sectors have inflated radically faster than others, and education is one of the really bad ones. Education has inflated much more rapidly than most luxury goods or most consumer end products.
I do think it would be a dangerous subject because we could go into the weeds on like the accessibility of education and like the effects on a general population, how they will vote, and then like it's just they are educated. And
well, actually, this is a fun one because I find this to be an interesting topic to talk about, and I will probably talk about it a lot. I've talked about it before on stream, and I'll probably talk about it quite a bit more because, again, former college professor, and this has always put me in a weird perspective in the VTubing space, right? Because many of my peers now are college students, and that's weird.
that is true.
It is strange. Not just peers, mentors. People who have given me genuinely valuable advice are old enough that I quit being a professor while they were in like high school. That they're that age, but they are more experienced than me as VTubers. So I end up taking advice from them, and it's an odd switch in perspective for me. But yes, a thing that I keep on thinking about is that one of those premises of how we have set up our society is that even if everybody is not educated, everyone is educable. And this is an interesting distinction between modern societies and I would say early modern societies when universities were younger, in medieval societies in particular. In medieval societies in particular, it was just not believed that you could educate a peasant. That was even a thing that was worth attempting to do. The peasants were peasants, and this was their fundamental nature, and they would get nowhere.
Which is fascinating because you take into consideration like the religious aspects. The peasantry often foisted off their children because economically it was unaffordable to raise them, so they'd foist them on the church, and this church would turn them into monks and hardworking individuals. But a lot of them were taught to read, but they were pretty much indentured to the church their whole lives.
Yes, and that's always a very complicated factor, and I think it is fair to say, this is me being big brain sociologist here, all societies are full of contradiction.
Accurate.
Yes, I would honestly also say that all people are full of contradiction. All of us are very contradictory creatures. And that is something that I think we have to live with, and I think is a good thing, if I'm being completely honest. I like it. Maybe I'm just making Walt Whitman references in order to appeal to my extremely erudite guest here, but I do believe it. But yes, so a lot of our start point here was that Vexx wanted to talk a little bit about poetry, and I have mentioned on stream before that I do nonfiction editing, and this is not in the context of working for something like a textbook publisher. I work for a variety publisher, and so I do sometimes end up publishing not just fiction but poetry as a commission. I end up commissioning as a commissioning editor, handling poetry, and I often feel out of my depth, if I'm being completely honest. Poetry is the one I struggle the most with. It is, I would consider, my weakest point as a commissioning editor. And so I was curious, Vexx. I know you said you're a huge Maya Angelou fan.
Correct. Are you asking why am I my Angelo
well,
fan?
I'm giving you the opportunity to start weighing in, to start laying into me here. What do you feel like me and my viewers should know about poetry? Should know about poetry and modern poetry. Have a good nap. Have a good nap, Space.
So there have been numerous other authors, writers of all kinds, you know, people that are in political spheres that are poets, philosophers that are poets, greater number of individuals that write down just a few words that mean so much. And it's the conveying of emotion through word form that I think poetry really shines. Obviously, lyrical poetry is also turned into like song
Of course.
oftentimes.
Yes.
But you've got so many different types of poetry. You have iambic pentameter, you have your, haikus, you've got free form, and there's a lot of like structured forms of poetry, Shakespearean. He did the ABAB, yada yada yada, GG at the end. And then there's another poet whose brain, I don't know, there's so much up there right now, it's kind of hard to pin it down. But there's another poet that also did that quatrain, couplet, but his were alternating A, B, A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, C, D, and then the last ones were like GG.
Is that Blake?
No.
Okay. Blake did do his couplets a lot, but it was somebody else then.
It'll just take a second to find out that information. But I do find that poetry tends to, like, orally or even visually connect with people very easily. Sometimes paintings leave a lot to the imagination and create a lot of ideas and feelings. And sometimes, you can look like at a Jackson Pollock and you feel chaos. It's just like it doesn't really evoke emotion necessarily. And sometimes art in its form can, unless it's actually expressed in the way that the artist intended, it doesn't actually move you. An example of this, I was down in Seattle recently with my mother for Mother's Day, and they had this exhibit of this artist, I don't recall the name, where he has a ton of these beautiful mobiles, right? These balancing strings and wires and these beautiful objects suspended from them. And it literally, the title of the exhibit was In Motion. And there was not a breath of air, not a wisp of wind, nothing to move these very clearly orchestrated, movable pieces. And they just looked lifeless and sad when they should have been jostling around and spinning and gyrating to create this elaborate sense of joy and excitement in the colors and the movement. And it was not expressed because they were just sitting there.
That was always a trouble with a lot of more complicated pieces and how they are experienced. There is a installation art that I've seen several times over the years. Petrarch?
Sorry. Petrarch was the other type of sonnet. So yeah, Shakespearean sonnets and Petrarch, who's another philosopher.
Petrarch is a Renaissance humanist. Yeah. There's a I always forget the name of the artist and I always forget the title of the piece, because the title of the piece is it's a mass. It is a weight that is given, and the art itself is a pile of candy. Is a pile of hard candy in wrappers, and the weight given is the weight of the artist's boyfriend at the time that he passed away from AIDS complications. And the piece of art is intended to be, the intent of it is that people in the art gallery will eat the candy over the course of the day, and then it will be refilled up to its intended weight at the start. And that's one of those pieces of art where it's difficult to say how is it meant to be experienced? It is very much contextualized and designed for being seen and experienced in a museum context, and it really needs the buy-in and participation of the museum goers to work as intended. And at the same time, whenever I've seen it, I've actually never eaten any of the candy. Something about it feels ghoulish, almost cannibalistic. And it just feels odd to me. And that's one of those things that there's a lot of these pieces of art that are like that. Yeah, like you said, that in motion one, that's a critique that has been laid many times. That has been fielded many times, I'm sorry, against attempts to make art exhibits out of non-Western art. That, for example, a mask that is intended to be worn during a dancing ceremony just being hung up on a wall does not really give you any sense of what it's about or what it's meant or how it's really meant to be understood by the people who used it.
That same mask could flutter with feathers, jingle with bells, be a profusion of color in movement from cloth or fabric of all, just all kinds of different decorations that on a wall have no, they don't exhibit that movement, that fluidity, that life that is supposed to be in motion. But yeah, I sent you a couple of photos here from that exhibit. Like I said, they paired them on white, pristine walls, and they do not move, and they just look like weird sculptures, and they don't give you they don't evoke anything in emotion or feeling. They're just kind of, they're there.
Well, I'm trying to bring up the image in a way that makes sense for the viewers. Okay, hold on. That doesn't work. I don't know why you can't just use the new modern paints, like you used to be able to use MS Paint, the older form of paint, to do this with, but I am going to have to use GIMP. And so yes, this doesn't move at all. And it's just kind of a confusing piece.
If they had a fan or like even AC in the building, because it's hot as balls in there.
Of course. Yes.
If they had any kind of air circulation at all, these would move beautifully.
Yes. Especially this one right here. This one is very obvious that the movements would be very complex and interesting to watch. And it is something I think about with the question of so this is actually a museum piece. We're getting so far afield here, but I love it. Discard. This is a museum piece that I think is fascinating. This is by Chris Burden. It is a 1985 installation art called Samson. What do you think is going on here, Vexx?
It looks like some sort of pulley system to lift that bar, perhaps, or to pull that bar in a certain direction. So it's kind of hard to tell.
That's fair. So on the right side, you see a turnstile that this person is walking through. Okay. And that turnstile sets in a series of gears in motion, including a fan. You can see not a fan, a belt system, and then it goes to that bar that is going across the room. It causes that each time a person goes through the turnstile, it causes the bars to spread, to push against the walls of the museum.
similar to the story of Samson
Yep.
pushing and pulling the pillars. That makes sense.
It is worth pointing out that Chris Burden is completely insane. One of his art pieces was he walked out into the middle of a field and just shot a gun at planes. He's a maniac.
Why is it the really famous artists are fucking crazy? I know.
And I've just always found that one deeply funny. That this museum installation piece is intended to at least threaten the entrance to the museum with killing them. Wow. He's at least intended to threaten them with the possibility that going into the museum is now a collective hazard. I will be honest, I am pretty confident that every single museum that has ever installed this has not hooked it up to load-bearing walls. Because I'm assuming that they're not as insane as Chris Burden. But yes. Yeah, Mango Tarty points out that in a museum context, they wouldn't feel comfortable touching an art piece without knowing how I should be interacting with it, which is fair. I will say that in the case of the piece I was referencing, I knew what the intent was, and I still felt odd about it because, as mentioned, it felt kind of ghoulish to me. It didn't, which means that I was in a way not interacting with the art the way it was intended. But I think that is, I think every artist has to accept that as part of the risk of publishing art, that people will not get the same things out of it that you are intending them to.
I feel like this particular piece, the one with the Samson piece, this would have been a really cool, if they had the space for it, if they had created false walls, fully normal structure, you know, framed, insulated, sheetrocked, painted, the whole nine, but 2 false walls on either side of this piece, and allowed the deconstruction of those walls through the process of people using the turnstiles and watching the breakdown of those walls. I think that process would have been really fascinating to watch over days, over weeks, and and then see the crumbling and the crushing of said walls. So would have added to it.
That would have been very cool. I'm going to propose a completely insane possibility because I like making terrible ideas. Although I think this one, I think I'm cooking here. I think I got something. An action movie where goons keep on going through the turnstile, and at the end of the fight, it causes the building to collapse. That, I think, would be a fun action sequence to include. Wow. And because it would be on a set, you have controlled demolition.
The amphitheater, the fuller the building, the more damage is being done.
Yeah, and it's on a movie set, so it's relatively controlled demolition. So, I think you could make something very impressive and funny out of that. And
Valis made a good point. It's like, as someone who works with the blind, there are a growing number of tactile art shows being curated solely for the purpose of being touched and interacted with. I think that that's a really great way to be more inclusive. Obviously, a lot of art museums and art showcases are geared totally towards those who can see, and having something that is like tactile and touchable. And also, I think tactile art would be more inclusive for younger minds that want to touch and want to hold and interact with art, but they're told not to, and it's very stern, like, no, you can't touch that, it's against the law, you know, you can't do this, and then like turning them off from the enjoyment of the art itself.
Yeah, very much so. I was thinking about science and children's museums generally tend to include tactile elements, and it does occur to me that I would say that I think this is a case where inclusion creates opportunity for artistic expression and for artistic engagement, and it is not always the case that this happens. Sometimes there are cases where accommodating a disability makes it harder to accommodate people with different disabilities, but I think that this is definitely a case where, even as a sighted person, it would be that sounds like an experience that I would get a lot out of. A tactile art show. I think I would get a lot out of that. I think it would be especially valuable to have a tactile art show where I was not able to see, that I was blindfolded or something, and go into it and experience the art entirely through touch. I think that would be a very valuable and enlightening experience. And I just think that's wonderful. I just think that's wonderful. And I think that that might be a space that might be underutilized in the artistic world, which is somewhat amusing in that within the world of non-fine art, the world of the crafts, that has never been neglected. That has always been an essential part of creating. You know, people do not create chairs that are not meant to be touched. That is not something that happens. People do not create knives that are not meant to be touched, that are only meant to be looked at. That is not a thing. And so we have a craftsmanship. And people may have heard me say this a few times before, but I think a very critical part of being an artist of any kind is to be good at the craftsmanship underneath the art. I mostly think about this in terms of writing. The craft of writing, you cannot merely be good at... It is very hard to be good at writing and only understand the higher levels of it. You need to understand the lower levels of how to choose the right words, of how to use meter and tone, of how to use grammar. You need to have solid craftsmanship in order to execute well on your higher artistic goals. And I think we do have that base in our culture, that craft base for creating good texture, creating tactile sensations that people associate with different things. At an absolute minimum, I think we all can think of some textures that pretty much everybody agrees are disgusting. Mm-hmm. You know, things that are too soft or slimy. You know, we tend to associate as having a disgusting sensation. This is causing me, obviously you cannot see this at all, this is causing me to just touch some of the things on my desk. And the monitor stand I have has an interesting texture. It's a very much like that, like a vinyl record texture that is very subtle, that you can touch and feel very, very minute differences across it. In very regular patterns. But yes, we think about this all the time. We think about the touch of our keyboards, the feel of our chairs, the feel of our clothes. Who in the world is a gamer and does not think about the tactile sensation of using their mouse? And why should that only be limited to better or worse? Why should that not allow us to engage with our emotions and our artistic goals at a deeper level than just doing it better or doing it less skillfully?
I think touch, at least in Western culture in particular, touch is very human coded. Mm-hmm. Like I sent you some photos of some brass statuary that over time, through human touch, they have worn away the patina that naturally occurs on these bronze statues because people are touching Lincoln's nose for luck, this shoe for luck, they want to pet the dog. Right, and there's other examples. I think there was like a statue in Italy where like everyone goes up and touch, like gently, you know, they cusp her breast, and then there's another one where like
the Wall Street Bull, everybody touches the balls.
The balls, yeah.
Yep. Yep. There's actually
very shiny.
There's actually a very interesting type of sculpture. I always forget the name of it. There's an ancient Greek style of sculpture that. Hello, Cyber Guy. There is an ancient Greek style of sculpture where it is a bust on top of a near body-sized pillar of marble that's just square below the bust, and it'll have like the person's name on it, and then their penis. That was incredible timing. As soon as I said penis, there was a thunderstrike. But you know, it'll have just a bust and the person have a man's bust and their genitals. And one of those things that has been noted is that the genitals almost never survive the passage of time. They are almost always broken off.
I love how I googled this, and the only statue I found immediately was a plinth where the head, the bust did not survive, but the genitals had.
Incredible. Incredible.
These are fascinating. So these are all herms, it looks like? A herm statue.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for supporting me in my spreading of extremely bizarre knowledge of ancient history. And this is one of those little pieces of talking about the ancient Greeks that does not tend to survive super much in how we think about their school.
Why?
Well,
like,
it's because
why did they do this?
Why did they do this? Yeah, they do look very weird. Herms look very weird. Just I'll put it in the chat.
The lady statues are the same, except that instead of being outwardly like outer genitals, they're like carved into the stone. And they're
actually, I've never seen any of the feminine ones.
That is fascinating.
That is that I had not thought. I only had heard about the herms, and then I was like, wow, that's weird enough. I didn't think about, because I've gotten so used to associating the ancient Greeks with being a staggeringly misogynistic culture, even by historical standards. But yes, indeed. Why do they have the penis? Why do they have the penis and not the hands, the chest, the arms, the legs? Why is it head and penis, or vulva, I suppose? And I don't actually have an answer. I genuinely don't know. I genuinely do not know. It's very odd to me. It's a very odd cultural tradition. I think, to me, the part that I always think about is this is never what people mean when they say ancient Greek statue.
No.
In our cultural norms, we nobody talks about this. nobody is talking about ancient Greek statues and meaning a floating head on a plinth with a penis.
No. They're thinking of Aphrodite. They're thinking about Hercules fighting the lion. They're thinking about any number of other statues. Don't get me wrong, genitals seem to be rampant in all of them, but is that a normative for the society at that time, or is that our going through the lens of our Puritan values that have been instilled in our society in modern day? Like, why is it weird to us? Because, like, why would you do that now? But it raises a lot of questions.
Watch Doge, thank you for the subscription, and yes, you did. I never get over how funny it is to use the Dutch TTS. Dutch is so funny to me. But yes, Watch Doge, you came in at a great time. And Cyber Guy brings up an interesting point. Wasn't the penis an indicator for intelligence? A very interesting podcast that I listened to a few months ago talked about this, that it wasn't so much just the penis, but the whole of being nude was its own kind of yes, it is 4 a.m. for you over in the UK. Hello,
very
you and
Chad
I.
Coded.
Well, it's very Chad coded. It is a uniform. It is a costume. And I'm tall. Thank you for the tall, you and I. It is the entirety of the nude statue is its own form of costume, and in particular when you're talking about, say, Augustus, who's quite later than the ancient Greeks. This is a good confirmation that I did something wrong with my timing on my Streamerbot. So it is actually 4 minutes, not 5 minutes. So I did something wrong with the timing. I'm going to just edit that, if people don't mind. But it is good.
Can you make me small? I don't know. Can you smush the
I can.
Fugi? I'm not sure.
I can.
Okay,
I can. Let me smush you. Smush the Fugi. Transform. Edit. Transform. Let's see. So I will be reducing it by 250. So 752, and then that will be 328. But we're stretching. We're not smushing. This is smushed.
There we go.
I've smushed you. So now the height difference is insane. Now the height difference is incredible. Should I? Or would you prefer to be stretched, or do you prefer to be the tall cat?
Cyber guy wanted small cat.
Small cat. Okay, we got small cat.
Yes.
We got small cat.
Looks like I have more coffee though, so I'm not against this.
It does. Slightly dwarfy cat. Vexing dwarf. But yes. We can get a fan art of you and Horatius. But yes, I think that to me that's been something that's been kind of interesting that I've been thinking about for a few months. And yeah, because there's no reason to believe that Augustus himself was ever at any point walking around ancient Rome naked. That would be very odd. But we have naked statues of him that probably are not based on his actual body. We have very little reason to believe anything other than the head would have been based on his body. But it was sort of an indication of his connection to the divine, because why would the divine wear clothes? They're gods. Why would they bother? Which is something that's present in a lot of societies, and also something of a sign of, as you said, Vexx, Chad coded, of extreme confidence.
Oh yeah.
And Cyber Guy did allude to something that I always think is an interesting element of how we discuss this. Yes, and Mango Tarty actually is engaging in where I was about to go with this. This has been a cultural transformation in the West over time, is that the Greek and the Romans adopted this, but it was very much a Greek thing that they were fairly explicit about, was that penis size was a correlate with temperance. That to be intemperate and ruled by your base emotions, that was a correlate with a large penis. And that to have a small penis was a correlate with being rational and intelligent. And then that changed at some point, certainly by the modern era, by the 15th century. We start seeing COD pieces that emphasize very large penises, that are trying to sell you on the idea that Henry VIII has a 14-inch monster.
He's virile and super intelligent and blah blah blah.
Yes.
Never mind the beheadings.
Well, I mean, those are just extensions of that, right? It's part of his strength, his virility, his yeah. You and I, we've got the mega size difference here. We've got the pocket Vexx. But yes. Let's see if the ad manager is correct this time. The ad manager has frequently given me wrong timings. Yes, I think it's very cute.
Here, I will emphasize cuteness and swap to my tiger plushie.
The tiger plushie, very smushed. You'll be a little bean.
Yeah, that'll be the best, honestly. Here.
And Space Circus has gone to bed, so you don't have to compete for the smallest bean title.
There is smush
A
plushie.
little smush plushie. Yes, excellent. Excellent. It is occurring to me. I was setting up my move filters so that they would. Grim's enthusiastic. I've been setting up my move filters so that they will work once I go over to VTS. Okay, ads are upon us. So I'm going to put up the art gallery for those of you who are going to be watching through the sub, and get your water, get your drinks, and we'll be right back. And we are back, and we are back. The Almantas just expired. I am sorry. But we still have the squished little bean. We still have the squished little bean.
The squished bean.
Yeah, the squished little bean cats. Oh, hello, Ronan. Hello, Ronan. Let me give you the shout out, Ronan. How are you doing today, Ronan? Are you familiar with Ronan Vexx?
I don't believe that I made the acquaintance, but
Ronan is a lovely streamer. Hello, Kyra. She is, and hello, Niano. Ronan is. Let me also give the shout out to Niano. Apologies for having to do this all very quickly. Ronan is a lovely streamer. She tends to stream during Australian hours. She's like us. She's a little bit on the older side, and does a lot of retro games and is unapologetically bad at them. And I love her for this. And Ronan has been a tireless supporter of me and my content for months, and I am always very enthusiastic. I'm very enthusiastic about encountering Ronan. Ronan, I think you will like Vexx's content. She does very good calming content. And Niano is a good friend of mine. Niano is a good friend of mine. I was actually just on his stream recently. Excellent. Yeah, Ronan's already followed. Ronan's wonderful.
Likewise, I followed Ronan too. I'm already like I read the about me. I'm like sold.
sold. Yes. Unapologetic hag. Niano is a friend. Niano is wonderful.
A cat wizard. Oh, yeah. This is so cute.
I'm really optimistic. I have this idea with Niano. Yeah, Ronan's already crying. I have this idea with Niano that I really hope we can execute on, where when he does collabs, he will be sitting on the other person's lap. I feel
like sitting on your shoulder would make more sense in that context, but yeah.
It would be easier to set up with how Live2D works. It would generally be easier to set up with how Live2D works. But no, Niano's wonderful. Niano's a very smart dude, and I haven't had the chance to do this with him, but him and Shadowru did a very good stream together a few weeks ago where they discussed fiction writing. And them learning the process of becoming fiction writers. So wonderful little man, the silly magic cat, and I'm so grateful for both of you stopping by, and also hello to Kairu. So before we went on break, we were discussing ancient Rome, ancient Greece, and that is. I'm trying to drag us
and genitals.
A lot of things about genitals and nudity and how those related with the ancient Greek and Roman culture and how those have changed over time. And I am trying to stagger us haltingly towards the actual topic of today's stream of poetry. And Vexx, thank you for the sub.
I don't know what you're talking about.
How did that not?
I only had 4 days left on it, so it's like
Oh, there we go. It showed up in the Twitch activity feed much sooner than it showed up anywhere else. Does make me think there might be a problem with my alerts, but so it goes. But yes, one of the things I was so I think it's kind of interesting that for a long time the oldest piece of art we had surviving was the Odyssey. Was the Odyssey and the Iliad. Those were the two oldest pieces of art we had surviving. We've since expanded our surviving literary corpus back several thousand years backwards from there, but the West lost the ability to read Akkadian, and so therefore we lost the Akkadian. The Library of Nineveh was just a series of rocks for a long time. And Now we do have those, but for a long time, the Odyssey and the Iliad were competing with the Bible for the oldest piece of Western literature, and those are poems. Those are poems, and they have a very specific valence to them, and we are trying to haltingly get our way back towards poetry. And Vexx wanted to share some poetry. I believe you want to start with Rumi.
Rumi would be an excellent choice. Do you want to keep me Smush Cat coded?
We can. That is up to you. Well, okay. So we have. Let's unsmush you because I am not currently. Oh.
Tall.
Yeah, I'm not currently
Smush.
tall. So let's de-smush you. Let's keep you a little bit height accurate. Thereabouts. Yeah, now the funny epic of Gilgamesh is the oldest. Yep. And hello, Tarakawa. Hello. Hello. So, yes, how would you like to share this? Should I use I could create a text box, and I could copy the excerpts that you want to talk about.
Sure. That'll work.
Create a new text. So I don't want to use Arial. That's gross. I need to figure out how to change the default.
Arial non-serif. It has its place in the world.
Yeah, it's fine. I just am. I don't understand the insistence that it is the ultimate font.
I think it's pretty easy for most people to read, especially those learning English. However, anyone that has dyslexia struggles greatly because it is not easy to read.
And I am, of course, the old man who loves old things, and so I desperately need things to be serifs, or else I am cranky.
Is that papyrus?
I've changed my mind about papyrus. This is the power of Undertale, is that Undertale has caused me to reevaluate papyrus entirely. Now let's go with Amiri. I could not find Georgia, so I'm on Amiri regular. So hello Mama Ubume. Hello Mama Ubume. Mama Ubume is a writer. She's an actual writer, not unlike me who writes garbage like economic summaries. She writes actual literature, and I'll let her contest how literary she feels her work to be. What did you? Okay, that's why. It took me a second to figure out what he meant by the icon needs to be a little bit lower. I figured it out. I figured out what he means. Okay. You were not flush with the bottom of the screen. It made it look like you were floating.
Yeah, I get it.
Let's get the hello world out here, and I can. Okay, that tells me that the font's a little bit small. Let's go with 100. There we go. I know that you are not sorry at all, Mama Ubume. I know that you have no problems with who you are or what you do. So let's. Oh yeah, I should actually. I have alerts disabled. So Vexx keeps on sharing stuff in the side chat, and I keep not noticing until she says, "Hey, pay attention." Let me. I'm going to see if I can compress the paragraphing a little bit. We don't need outlines.
That works.
That works? You think that works?
Yeah. I mean, it's a little hard to read, but I think it'll be fine. I was intending to read it anyway, so.
I am going to give the background a little bit of opacity, and I'm going to add whoa, that outline is gross, but I can change the outline. I was going to make the outline color black. Is that a little bit easier to read, do you think? I don't think this is great.
Still catching up, I think. That's not bad. I think that's a little easier to read, to be honest.
I think I'm
Just
also
I think we're okay.
Smaller characters, I do think so. I think smaller characters is actually the way to go. We're learning. I think 80. Let's try 80. Nope.
This will be good for future poetry discussions, so good to have this kind of like coded and ready.
Yes. That's a little bit that's small on my end, but my screen is only taking up like 1/4 of my screen because I've got chat and everything taking up tons of space.
I have the stream up on my left monitor, so I can see it pretty well.
Okay, it looks well on on a full monitor. Okay.
Yep.
I am a lunatic. I only have the one monitor for all of my streaming needs, streaming and gaming.
You can't see it, but I'm shaking my head right now. I'm on 2, and I'm honestly contemplating a third because it's like gaming here, streaming here.
Vexx,
If I have guests in Discord over here, it would make.
do you want to do you want to suffer a real headache, Vexx?
No.
Actually, Niano's going to really suffer from this one. I know this is going to make Niano want to die. For about 6 months of my streaming, I had one 15-inch laptop monitor as my entire computer setup.
I have the right emote for this. Hold on a second.
I like the two cats dying and Grim just being like, yeah. Grim just being like, yeah. And actually, yes, Mama Bume, I have paid. Not only have I played Elegy of a Dead World, if my contract had been renewed, I would have made my anthropology students play it. I like Elegy of a Dead World quite a bit. That might be a good community game. That might be a good community game. I like Elegy for a Dead World, and I'm small. Thank you, and I, for the small.
Oh no, we're almost the same height. That's great.
Do you want to be the same height, or do you want to be tall? Do you want to mix it up?
No, I learned from last time.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Okay.
We're good.
Okay.
So to get on topic, so I did post, this is A Moment of Happiness by Rumi. Now, Rumi was a Sufi poet, and then this poem, I think, was released in, oh gosh, it would have been like 700 or something like that. It's a long ass fucking time ago. I'd have to go find the actual excerpt on when it was released. But the poem reads, "A moment of happiness. You and I sitting on the veranda, apparently two, but one in soul, you and I. We feel the flowing water of life here, you and I, with the garden's beauty and the birds singing. The stars will be watching us, and we will show them what it is to be a thin crescent moon, you and I unself. We'll be together, indifferent to idle speculation, you and I. The parrots of heaven will be cracking sugar as we laugh together, you and I, in one form upon this earth and in another form in a timeless sweet land." Now, I think Rumi was probably one of the most incredible philosophers, romantics, amazing, just an all-around amazing human being.
Mm-hmm.
And this poem shows that, like, just the depth of feeling of like oneness, and with that could be a lover, that could be a friend. I think it's the continuation connection of humanity, and just a beautiful poem.
Mm-hmm. He is generally known in the West for being quite sensual, and you can see that here. This is I think that there are some translation choices here that I think are strong. I think are strong and good translation choices to stick to pretty short and even Anglo-Saxon, Germanic-rooted words. Not a lot of large polysyllabic options here, and that makes the repetition, I think, hit harder. You know, the repetition of you and I, it's difficult to not read that you and I repeated over and over again in a kind of sensual way. is hard to miss that. And that is I think what he has the reputation for, and I can see that on display here. I can see it on display here, and it's a very optimistic poem. There's no tragic element to this, though it is arguably about death. It is a very optimistic read of death, and which should not be too surprising, of course, because Rumi is famously a very devout Muslim, and the afterlife is seen as a pretty good deal to devout Muslims, because that's part of the religion. And there is something to be said about the fact that this doesn't. I do think that the translator, I do not know how much this is in Rumi's original and how much is in the translation, that you do not see the phrase like or as. It is we will show them what it is to be a thin crescent moon, not we will show them what it is like to be like a thin crescent moon. It's emphasizing it's kind of emphasizing a more literal form of transformation and transubstantiation. I think that really enhances it. Yeah, I love this. Thank you, Vexx. Thank you for sharing.
Yep, I've got another one from more of his mysticism set. The first one I got just from one of his love poems. This first one, A Moment of Happiness, because he has poems on passion that are very, and then he has poems on love, and I think his mysticism ones are a little bit more complicated, and I like them.
Going to increase the opacity a little bit.
I like how this one is also still sensual, but also from his mystical poems. It's
of course, yeah.
Abode of security for what does that mean? I don't know how that translated there, but he's got poems on realization, Divani Shams, life and death. He was just a very introspective and passionate man who wrote poetry that I think survived even through translation just in a beautiful way. His words touch the soul. I'll look up for another quote here in a minute, but did you want to take a stab at reading this one?
Oh, sure. Sure. Let me do that. I was just trimming out the numbers because I believe from context it looks like those were copying errors. Those look like page numbers.
Probably.
From these depths depart towards heaven. May your soul be happy. Journey joyfully. You have escaped from the city full of fear and trembling. Happily become a resident of the abode of security. If the body's image has gone, await the image maker. If the body is utterly ruined, become all soul. If your face has become saffron pale through death, become a dweller among tulip beds and Judas trees. If the doors of repose have been barred to you, come, depart by way of the roof and the ladder. If you are alone from friends and companions, by the help of God, become a lord of happy circumstance. If you have been secluded from water and bread, like bread become the food of the souls, and so become.
Yeah, it slaps pretty hard.
Yeah, that's one of my co-editors. That's his theory of how to edit poems is just does it slap. Just does it slap. And yeah, I can see the more dedicatedly religious element to this. Sahib, they didn't even this translator struggled with Sahib Quran. I just said Lord of Happy Circumstance, but he seems to have struggled with that, and Abode of Security seems to be a pretty deliberate type of reference that the translator felt couldn't be translated as something like become a resident of God's embrace, or the kingdom of heaven, or something like that.
Can I post links, yay, nay?
You should be able to. I don't tend to restrict that. So far, people have been
I went
good.
ahead and so this is the source for my Rumi poetry that I usually refer to, and I'll probably be reading from in the future. But in case anybody was curious about more of their poetry, this is a good source for that. They have multiple interpretations from multiple people, so it's not all just one person struggling through their words to try and make sense of it. Gives you, since it has diverse interpretations, it lets you kind of figure things out a little bit more on your own.
Well, and in a moment of foreshadowing, translation is an incredibly important part of this kind of conversation. And I remember a lecture that I went to many years ago where a Japanese scholar of poetry spent over an hour just on translations of a single haiku. And how those could be different. And the translation that he swore by, that he thought was the best English version of this particular haiku, was not what an English speaker thinks of as haiku. It did not conform to a 5-7-5 structure at all. It was just pond, frog, plop.
It's very literal.
Yes,
So
yes.
they were okay.
That was what he thought was
Okay.
the best translation of this Japanese poem about a frog that jumps into a pond.
Yep.
Yeah, it's wonderful. It's wonderful, and I mean that's a thing that we have to think about a lot with this, and it's part of the reason why I do think that there is something to be said. I tend to be touchy about people using pretentious as a critique because I think they're often using it in silly fashions and sometimes not using it in fashions where it would be very valuable. But
I think pretentious should be saved for sesquipedalian poetry.
Yeah.
If you're
Yeah.
using big words just because you know the big words and you're stringing them together so you can puff up and feel good about your knowledge and superiority, that is pretentious.
Well, hello, Asim. Hello, Asim. Let me give Asim the shout out as well. Asim is a
Precisely.
very, very clever gentleman. He is a very, very clever gentleman. He is extremely
The
educated.
Divine Library. Okay.
Yes, yes,
Collab.
yes. And he is Ronan's VTubing brother. Is how I knew him. Yes, excellent. It's good to see you, Asim. This is a little bit later than I usually am, but Vexx wanted to start a little bit later, so I'm grateful that it gave you the opportunity to stop by. I'm also grateful that it appears that you are not, I guess, suffering in the Final Fantasy XIV mines, though you might be returning to that today. In which case, good luck.
Asim, do you also do thank you very much. It's just one of the PNGs of my model. Do you also read as well? Your streams start again on Tuesday. Ooh.
No, he's been doing a very long subathon, a lengthy subathon of all of Final Fantasy XIV.
I gotcha.
And people have it's a lot. Nyano understands. I believe Asim's into post Realm Reborn. It's a lot. But yes. So Cyber Guy, it is probably worth saying that what Rumi is talking about here is that we got into Heavensward. You're not going to make it. Yeah, no, I don't. I'm not. I'm amazed you got to Heavensward. I'm amazed you got to Heavensward. These poems are about death. These poems are very much built in Rumi's understanding of what happens to you when you die, and that the transformation from being a live person to being in God's embrace is a beautiful one. That is what he is doing. That is what these poems are about more than anything else. I think is probably the most confusing part, is to understand that he is, by implication, this is about heaven.
Yeah.
I had to take 3 weeks off due to an injury. But yes, how you translate a poem, that's something that I think is a danger in any translation of a poem, is translating it in a way that makes it more inaccessible rather than more accessible. So yes. Vexx is networking live on the stream.
Sorry. I can't even help myself. You were talking to me. Oh wait, another one.
No, yeah.
Did you want to read an excerpt from Homer? I know we kind of started there.
Well, actually,
Homer's Odyssey.
No,
Iliad,
it's funny as It's funny as
Beowulf, a lot of different poets.
Well, I was actually so we talked about this briefly before. Who do you think is my favorite poet?
Is it an American poet?
It is not.
You're kind of into the classics.
Mm-hmm.
This feels like a very pressured question.
Shelley, Byron, Frost. I'm seeing guesses here. Ubume is guessing.
Frost is American.
Frost is American.
So that eliminated all of America.
Yeah. Cyber guy, I tend to consider myself a little, well, my favorite poet taste is actually very basic. It's part of the reason why I think this is very funny, but I am interested that nobody's gotten close. Wild, Rumi,
Shakespeare?
Ubume. It is not Shakespeare. I'm curious. Nobody's gotten even close.
Kipling?
No.
Eliot?
Kipling would be a hell of a choice. That would be very out of character for me.
I don't know. Chaucer?
Nope. Hello Sakura. Mother Goose. China. There's a Chinese poet.
Oh. That changes things dramatically. I would have figured a European, but Sun Tzu?
Sun Tzu is not a poet.
No? Oh.
Sun Tzu Bingfa is not. I do really like the Zhuangzi. Mama Ubume. I really like the Zhuangzi. The Zhuangzi is a beautiful book, but it is not my favorite poet. Al-Mutanabi. That's a good choice. That's a good one. No, mine is the most basic Chinese poet of them all. It's Li Bai.
Okay.
It's Li Bai, and I'm going to correct this translation slightly. This is my favorite poem. This is not my favorite translation of it. I love Li Bai. Of course I love Li Bai. I don't quite love this one. I've done retranslations of this poem on my own time a few times. I'm actually going to change this one. I'm going to do it live. I'm going to retranslate this live because it's driving me a little bit nuts. We're doing it live. So the birds have vanished down the sky. All the birds have flown away. A lonely cloud disappears. There we go. All the birds have flown away. A lonely cloud disappears. We sit together, the mountain and I, until only the mountain remains. Yes. Mamu Bume knows. This is Li Bai was alive during the An Lushan Rebellion. He was alive during the An Lushan Rebellion, and he was a rather isolated Taoist mystic, and I think it is kind of interesting. I think that my art is often influenced by Taoism, by a very Western understanding of Taoism. I don't know much about medical Taoism. I only know a little bit about the mysticism of Taoism. But the acceptance of the relationship of agency that Taoism has, the relationship with agency and the exterior world versus the interior world, is something that has and impermanence in particular, is something that's really stuck with me in all of my art. And this has been my favorite poem for years, since I was young, since well before I studied even Chinese history. This poem has been my favorite. It's stuck with me for decades. It's a very classic Taoist poem. Again, Li Bai was a rather depressed Taoist mystic living through one of the, as Mamo Bume has alluded to, one of the worst wars in all of history. That's fair, Asim. I mean, this is a zazen, which is the Japanese. Zazen would be the Japanese, so it would be a cha'an junsha in the Chinese. And yes, I've loved it for years. And there's just something about the acknowledgement of the impermanence of the self here that I have loved, because so often meditations on impermanence are meditations on other things being impermanent, on how you might outlive things that you worked towards, right? That you might outlive your World of Warcraft account, for example. Darkly humorous that China alone can claim 5 of the top 10. Yeah, that's fair. I've played Dynasty Warriors. Mama Bume, I've played Dynasty Warriors. I can talk at length about Chinese history, but we're here to talk about poetry. But yes, yeah, like I said, I'm a little basic bitch. My favorite poet is the poet laureate of China. Very, very basic taste here. But yes, how do you react to this one, Vex? Talk to length.
I was looking up additional work by Li Bai. I was checking out the more of their content because I hadn't seen this particular author before. But poets have been lost to the ages, let alone how many modern poets and people that have only written a few lines of prose are written down somewhere. Li Bai in so many mobile games. It really.
Yeah, Li Bai is taught constantly in Chinese schools. There's actually an extremely funny thing about the history of Li Bai, which is he's generally like the -- 1 most famous Chinese poet, and the #2 is a guy named Du Fu, who met. Li Bai and Du Fu met. They overlapped. They knew each other in real life. And Du Fu never shuts up about it in his work, and Li Bai never mentions Du Fu. It's extremely funny.
Du Fu was like a momentary nothing in the span of his life, and then Du Fu was like, "Oh man, this one guy changed my life forever."
Extremely parasocial. Extreme parasocial relationship there.
That's fair.
Auto battler about concubines. Oh my god. The original Omega lol. Yeah. That's exactly. Exactly. All right, Cyber Guy. Have a wonderful night. It's good to have had you here. You play as the concubine. See, that's a based move. More games should put you into those roles.
There was a recent anime that put you in a bit of a similar role. What is it? The Apothecary Diaries.
Oh, okay. I don't know Apothecary Diaries. That sounds fun. Mama Woman, that sounds insane. That sounds insane. I do like auto battlers. That sounds completely fucking insane.
You just eat fruit with it. Okay.
You PvP with other people to get to eat fruit with the Emperor. Like, that's so goofy. Huh. That's so goofy. I do love auto battlers though. But yeah, Li Bai writes extensively about staring at the moon while drunk. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of what his poems are about. Is about getting drunk and looking at nature.
I think my takeaway from the poem here is just that all things, you know, are changing and fade away inevitably, except for perhaps the mountain in this case, and even the mountain too. Over time, with wear and rain and wind, it will change and move. The mountain itself is not even stagnant, but it will remain long after the author has passed.
Of course, absolutely. And I mean, it's it is one of those things that I meditate on with some frequency. That is probably not the healthiest thing to think about all the time, which is that humans are long-lived animals, but even the longest-lived human is nothing in the face of even a particularly well-built monument. And all of monument building history, all of the history of humans building monuments is not a large percentage of all of the human history. And even then, the scales just keep on getting larger and larger and larger as you get up to, again, ultimately the heat death of the universe. Ultimately there. And yes, Asim is pointing out something correct that and yeah, the I would point out that it's always worth kind of remembering that 21st century Chinese norms about the portrayal of sex in media are extremely demure. And it has been an interesting thing that has been pointed out by historians fairly frequently, that historical dramas made in China today frequently involve desexualizing the historical content quite radically. There's a particularly famous one is that they've done several Wu Zetian, wonderful emperor. Wu Zetian's a wonderful emperor to study. They've done several Wu Zetian TV shows and movies where the characters are all wearing costumes that would be... Any of the historical costumes would get you banned immediately from Chinese television. Instantaneously banned. Way too much cleavage. In the actual Tang Dynasty clothing. I've always found that kind of fun. Favorite poem is Goblin Market.
I gotta Google this.
Yeah, no.
Probably won't be able to read it, but
I mean, who's going to stop me? Well, okay, I need to make sure it's not that problematic.
Goblin Market, poem by Christina Rossetti. Oh, founded on Poetry Foundation. Okay.
1862.
Okay. This one, oh, she's girthy.
This is a little bit long. It might be hard to read.
She's a thick. This would be worth reading though, like aloud. This would be like, hey, you know, I need to fill like in half an hour of content. I got you right here. I'll save this.
It's an anti-Semitic sexual assault metaphor. Okay. Neat. Neat. I mean, I had a class in graduate school where we read an Afghan poem. This is one that we're not going to read here. An Afghan poem that was written in the 50s. I should say Pashto, because it was written in Pashto. Like 120 pages. Like, so definitely some poems we're definitely not reading on here just because of length.
I added some Li Bai poems.
Yes.
If you wanted to add or swap them out.
Yes. Let's reacting to your own. And see, the trouble here is that now I want to break out a beer.
It's Friday night. Who's stopping you?
Well, okay. That's partially an asking permission of my collab mate. Would you like to read this one? That's the alternate.
Sure. The second one, The Wine Party,
Mhm.
The Solitude of Night. Yes. Okay. This was also written by Lee Bai, translated by Shigeyoshi Obata.
Mhm.
I'm hoping I didn't butcher that too badly. It was at a wine party. I lay in a drowse, knowing it not. The blown flowers fell and filled my lap. When I arose, still drunken, the birds had all gone to their nests, and there remained but few of my comrades. I went along the river, alone in the moonlight.
Yes, I see. I love this. I love this. I don't know what it says about me that I love this. That these are so tactile, and
yeah, it does picture like a, you know, drowsy, drunken revelry, right? And it's like he awakes from his drunken stupor, and the birds have gone to their nests. So he has slept the afternoon away. And a few of his comrades have also taken their leave to go to their beds. And then just, I imagine him walking along the river, staring at the moon shining down with a half-drunken bottle in his hand. Just
yes,
chilling.
yes. It's very tactile, and it's... I don't... It does not... Maybe it's the sort of thing... It's one of those things that I always love in art, is... I suppose I would call it the use of negative space here. So to the extent that you can do such a thing with a narrative, that Lee Bai isn't telling you what to think about this. He isn't telling you what happens. There doesn't seem to be any particular purpose to this story. He gets drunk, passes out, wakes up, and then just kind of walks around. That's it. There's no... I absolutely know people who would look at this, and if you made this into like a movie or a TV show, they would be so mad about the fact that there doesn't seem to be any point. And fuck them. What is the point? What is the point of anything? Why do you need to have this kind of thing? It demands that you find a connection with this man. Actually, I shouldn't even say it demands it. It gives you this connection with this man who has been dead for 1,300 years. This is a very relatable story, I think, to anybody who's gotten wasted with their friends.
I think this is one of those situations where this poetry lends itself more to, I would say, the proletariat, the common man, because it is relatable. And I do think that higher education would make you want to read more into this than there actually is. I think this is just simple imagery and the truth of the story of him drunkenly waking up and realizing, oh man, it's gotten dark already. I don't really want to go to bed, so I'm just gonna go for a walk, and all my homies have gone to bed already. You know, so it doesn't need. Sometimes a word is just a word. A drunken walk by the river is just a drunken walk by the river. There's no more deeper meaning than that.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful. I do think it's funny that you looked at as proletarian when he very much an aristocrat. Very much an aristocrat. Admittedly, Bakunin and Kropotkin and Tolstoy were all aristocrats.
Tolstoy, definitely.
Tolstoy, very much an aristocrat, yeah. I think it's really a tribute to him enjoying the silent moments. Absolutely. This is what I kind of mean by like that narrative and poetic negative space. That, like, you can feel the silence in this. The birds had all gone to their nests. You can feel the silence here. He doesn't say what he did walking along the river. He doesn't tell you whether he was sad or happy or in awe. He just is kind of drunk.
Kind of drunk, looking at the moonlight.
Mm-hmm. And yes, life is usually loud and boisterous, and then yeah, and this is the thing about parties is, you know, you spend a couple of hours drunk and raging, and then you spend a couple more hours you know, in the quiet hours of the night. Also, Asim, aren't you streaming like literally right now? Aren't you like actually? I thought you were live like right now. Didn't you say you were going live? This is an irresponsible form of streaming. I'm like fine. Okay, fine. Fine. Did I give you the shout out, Asim? I'm sorry if I didn't.
I believe so, but I mean, it couldn't hurt to do it again.
Yeah. I'll give the regular shout out to Asim right now. I'll give the regular shout out to Asim. There we go. I like using
Get loved on, nerd. Take it.
I like to use the custom one because it tells me what game people were playing, which is increasingly difficult to use because everybody seems to be doing games and demos or just chatting. So I was like, that wasn't very useful. You know, it's never useful to use it with Sensational because he only does art. He only does art streams.
Yep.
I was like, what were you doing?
That's why I
like,
changed the wording of from like currently playing. I changed the shout out to like was last streaming blank, and then that way it can go they were last streaming ASMR, last streaming just chatting, last streaming whatever, and it's just a little bit of a wording choice that makes it a little more broad net capture, rather than it's like so and so was last playing just chatting.
Yeah, which I think is funny. I think that's funny.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, mine was they have been playing. I might change that. You're good. That was a good suggestion. I may change that if I remember. I need to go over to Stream Elements and change that. I'm not going to do that while I'm live because that's silly. Because that is silly. But yes. So we're they're last practicing. Yes, you do that, Niano. You do that, Niano. That's good. That's good. Niano is a bolder man than I, a bolder cat than I. God. Probably should go. Asim, it was wonderful to have you. I know it has been a minute since I saw you, and it's been really wonderful to have you around. I should say, to have you visit. Thank you very much for showing up, Asim, and it was good to hear your thoughts. It was good to have your thoughts. Good to have your thoughts. And yeah, give him the follow. Give him the follow. Give him the views. Give him the watching. Give him all of the love. But yes. This was I kind of jumped into this because you were talking about a 13th century poet as being very old, and I was like, well, my favorite poet's another 600 years older. So I felt like I needed to take the jump in because it would have felt even more ridiculous if I'd waited until we were talking about you know, Frost or Poe or something like that. But you said you had been collecting some poems.
I even have a couple here on my desk. I would probably like to read Maya Angelou poem, as she is my favorite poet.
Do you have a handcam set up?
I do not.
Okay, because there's a way to share handcam.
That would be really clever, and I'll have to get one, and then we'll figure that out together. Because I do want to eventually get one, so that way, you know, I can practice my calligraphy.
Yes. For people who don't know, Vexx also does calligraphy, and is, if anything, more knowledgeable than me, at least about the modern tools than I am. Made me feel like a bit of a poser when she asked me some questions. She's like, "Oh, what do you do?" And I'm like, "I do this and this and this." And she's like, "Oh, like what about this?" I'm like, "Ah, F." I have been outplayed here.
Haha. No. I think calligraphy, at least modern calligraphy, is um, pretty accessible to a lot
Hmm.
of people. There are workbooks. There is lots of videos on YouTube, tutorials. Um, Honestly, a lot of the basic level tools. Like, I mean, most calligraphers start with like a Higgins black ink, right? That's
Yeah.
an India ink specifically. It's wonderful because once it dries down, it will not smear.
Hmm.
And that's a great beginner's tool. And it's just practice, practice,
Yep.
practice,
Yep.
over and over and over again. But some tools are more helpful than others. I use my calligraphy more in like for like if I'm gonna put it, so somebody's birthday, I might write them a poem in calligraphy and send it to them. But I'm
Yeah.
usually doing, it's more like it's a watercolor with like painting and like maybe some gouache around the edges for opacity's sake, and then calligraphy poem in the middle. Um, a lot of my friends, when they would at my old job, if they were retiring or moving on to another employer, we'd have these going away parties, and I would write something really nice on the envelope for their going away party using calligraphy. Um, just different ways to use it because it's just charming, and I think it's an art form that needs to be revived.
We're in something of a golden age for it. I will say that. It has
Mhm.
been a healthy, the last century, last maybe century has been a pretty healthy period for it. Has been a pretty healthy period for it, and I think that's lovely. I should actually say the last 20 years has been a quite a healthy period for it. And yeah, the tools are quite accessible. I write with pilot parallels. People ask me this, and I write with pilot parallels, usually the 2.4 millimeter. It's like $10 to $15. And
Very
like,
accessible.
very
for,
accessible.
for most people, and you might even be able to find them cheaper on sites like Alibaba or
Oh, of course, yeah.
What is the
AliExpress.
and stuff? Yeah.
AliExpress. So usually when you're talking about fountain pens on from Chinese manufacturers, you want to buy multiple, because usually at least one of them turns out to be a dud.
Inevitably.
Yeah, Jinhaos in particular tend to have Jinhaos are famous for, like, you will get 1 out of every 10 Jinhaos is like the best pen you will ever have, and the other 9 are pretty dubious.
There's actually a lot of what is it called? Not calligraphy, but stationery stores based in like Korea and Japan and a number of other states or other countries that have like all price points from like only a few dollars all the way up to like hundreds of dollars. Like a Mont Blanc pen
Yeah.
is like thousands of dollars. Like that is like
you
absurd.
you and I have a Mont Blanc that cost me like $70. You and Niano may appreciate this right before we get into ads. My commutes used to involve going through the Oculus in New York City, one of the 10 worst buildings in the city, and the Oculus has a Mont Blanc store inside of it. It does not have any pens or paper or ink.
And what does it sell?
Briefcases that cost like $10,000.
That is such a niche market of
it-
individuals.
Well, it's the Oculus, that's all that they sell there is like things like luxury souvenirs, like high luxury.
Context.
Yeah.
All of you viewers here, I don't know what the Oculus
The Oculus is
but
the-
I live at the other end of the country in Alaska from our dear Manny here, so this means nothing to me.
The Oculus is it's at the World Trade Center monument. It is the train it is built over the train station that connects New York City's train system to New Jersey Transit. On the south end. The north end of it is Penn Station, of course, but the Oculus is where the Fulton Street station is. Or World Trade, depending on if you are on New Jersey, if you're on the path. If you're on the path, New Jersey, if you're on the New Jersey Transit path, it is the World Trade Center station. And hello, Senior Work WT Gaming. It is going lovely. The sexy librarian is being much smarter than me and making a fool of me. It's wonderful.
Not hardly. I think our knowledge bases are just different. So we're
I was
in
teasing.
my field.
I was
Yes.
teasing.
All right. right. No self-depreciation here in this stream. No, no, sir.
You are absolutely allowed to brag. You may, Mr. WT Gaming, Senior WT Gaming 01.
Ooh, can I read that?
After we do ads, because ads are upon us.
Woe be, woe, the odds be upon us. Oh no.
Yeah. Let's take that break. Enjoy the fan art. Enjoy the fan art gallery. I do need to update it. There's a couple fan arts that have been added since then. But yes, we'll be right back. And we are back. We are back. Thank you for your patience, folks. Thank you for your patience, folks. And this is I just remembered that I set this up. We are 2 hours in, and I didn't even say this at the start. Apologies, Miss Vexx. I am debuting on Monday, 2 p.m. US Eastern. And then doing a lecture on the 19th, and then a Q&A on the 21st, and I have included the link to the Q&A form. So if you want to ask me questions, that is the place to put them, and I will be going over them. They will be anonymous. But yes, again, this is I'm very grateful for Vexx joining me for my last PNG tuber stream. We didn't even mention this before, but I figure it's 2 hours in, I should mention this. But yes, where were we, Vexx? Thank you for letting me plug myself on my own channel.
No, absolutely. No, I'm really excited for your debut. It's going to be phenomenal, and I have no doubts that you're going to have a wide breadth of expression that PNGs do not offer with your new model, which, having gotten a tiny glimpse of it, 10 out of 10. I'm really excited for you.
Yes.
Hello, Carmelo.
Oh. Hello, Carmelo. Hello. We love Carmelo here.
Sir wanted us to read their quote here.
Yes, go ahead. You offered, Vexx.
Yes,
I'll let you do
I
it. Yes.
So this is from Sir Wit Gaming 01. I'm not 100% on that. I could write 1,000,000 words. I could write 1,000,000 sentences. I could write 1,000,000 words in those 1,000,000 sentences, but I could only write 2 for this community. Thank you.
Very sweet of you to say. Very sweet of you to say. Yes, it's... I don't know. I love what I'm doing here. I'm not gonna lie. I cannot lie. I love what I'm doing here. I haven't had the opportunity to do this particular type of stream before, of just having a guest on and just chatting about a thing that interests them. But Vexx is a very interesting woman. So, oh, and hello, Saf. Hello, Saf. I followed your suggestion, Saffron. And made a special shout out command just for you, just for Saf. If people do not,
Lady Saffron is very smart and cool, and she streams over at YouTube.
yes,
Awesome.
yes.
Give that a quick follow there.
Oh my goodness, Mango Tarty, thank you for the thank you for the subscription. Wow. Thank you for the sub.
This is cool.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
For if anybody, it is possible that some people, because I feel like I'm drawing in a very diverse community, but there was absolutely a period in my streaming where I would guess about 100% of the people who knew me knew who Saffron was. Saffron is a very, very cool young lady who does mostly Europa Universalis streams. She has actually guest starred on here once before, when it was like 1 a.m. for both of us, and she just came in and ranted about witch trials for 2 hours, because that's her historical research is on German witch trials in, oh my goodness, Southeast Germany. I forget not Tyrol. I forget the region. I feel bad, Saf.
Catwoman.
Franconia,
Tiger,
there we go.
Actually, but
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, Franconia.
Franconia.
Yeah. Yes. Saffron's been doing research into witch trials in Franconia, and the end of the witch trials in particular. Saf is a very smart prehistorian. No, hold on, it's the wrong word. Proto-historian. No, that's still the wrong word. Historian in training. There we go. Historian in training. Historian to be.
Historian apprentice?
That might be the word. Historian to be. I think is what I'm going to stick with. Yeah, her most recent stream was her and Chiwa suffering. I thought you'd. Oh, okay. I was wrong on your timeline. I thought you had finished your senior finals. I was wrong on the timeline. And Oh, and Los Muertos, thank you for the follow. Thank you for the follow. Yeah, her and Shiwadesu were doing a miserable punishment EU4 game just yesterday. That was very funny to watch. Very, very funny to watch. Every time I checked in, Chihuahua was down to 0 soldiers. Terrible situation to be in Europa. Yes. Where were we? We were, I think, going to transition into talking a little bit more about more modern poetry.
Sure. We could segue into arguably my favorite poet, which is Maya Angelou.
Yes. I think we can get away with putting some of the text up on here, especially because we're going to be discussing it. I don't think we're going to get in trouble for that.
Yeah.
And if we do, it's me.
That's fair. So Maya Angelou is one of my favorite poets. She was a poet, an American poet, a storyteller, activist. She died a few years ago during COVID, unfortunately. She was mostly known for her famous work, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. But I've been fortunate enough, I never had the opportunity to actually hear her read her poetry out loud in person. But a number of recordings exist because she's a more modern poetess that I can actually listen to her poems. And she's so like strong, badass woman coded in the most wonderful sense of the way. She was this incredible a Black woman activist for women's rights, for women of color, non-binary, trans rights. She was in it. Like she was like just a fierce woman for the good of humanity. And she, in her poetry, she's covered everything from faith to jealousy to history. But her poems about women, including the one I want to read called Phenomenal Woman, is just, I don't know, it hits different for me, and it always has. And like her, I'm not sure if you'll be able to fit her whole poem on the screen, but here is the link to the poem, and then if you want the words, like, this is the whole thing.
It is a little bit long to put into the text box as we've set it up. I think we can link to it in the chat. Yeah.
That'll probably be the easiest way in case anyone wants to read along.
Yes. Would you like to read it, or would you like me to read it?
This one's mine. I can give you another one of hers, but this one is mine.
Roger.
So, like I said, Phenomenal Woman by Maya Angelou. Pretty women wonder where my secret lies. I'm not cute or built to suit a fashion model size. But when I start to tell them, they think I'm telling lies. I say, it's in the reach of my arms, the span of my hips, the stride of my step, the curl of my lips. I'm a woman. Phenomenally. Phenomenal woman. That's me. I walk into a room just as cool as you please, and to a man the fellows stand or fall down on their knees. Then they swarm around me, a hive of honey bees. I say, it's the fire in my eyes and the flash of my teeth, the swing in my waist and the joy in my feet. I'm a woman. Phenomenally. Phenomenal woman. That's me. Men themselves have wondered what they see in me. They try so much, but they can't touch my inner mystery. When I try to show them, they say they still can't see. I say, it's in the arch of my back, the sun of my smile, the ride of my breasts, and the grace of my style. I'm a woman. Phenomenally. Phenomenal woman. That's me. Yeah. She just hits different.
It's wonderful stuff. I love the cadence. Also, hello, Mr. Overheat. I love the cadence. I think there's something very
I
valuable.
did miss the last paragraph. I apologize.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Now you understand just why my head's not bowed. I don't shout or jump about or have to talk real loud. When you see me passing, it ought to make you proud. I say, it's in the click of my heels, the bend of my hair, the palm of my hand, the need for my care. 'Cause I'm a woman, phenomenally, phenomenal woman, that's me. That is the end of the poem.
There we go. I think the use of I think it's very staccato, and I think that's very valuable here. It's one of those things that I noticed in poems and in writing more generally, is that keeping a very like staccato pace displays confidence. It makes things seem... You probably noticed this, chat, in how I speak, that I dissemble and use longer phrases than is strictly necessary, and use these not quite run-on sentences, but these very extended multi-clausal sentences, which is sometimes useful for conveying complicated information, but it also is partially a display of uncertainty. But that's not what Maya Angelou is trying to do here. Maya Angelou is trying to display confidence because she is the phenomenal woman.
I have another one from that same section, Still I Rise. I think the ones that are kind of written, I don't know, written as a woman, from a woman, to be read by a woman, are a little bit harder for you to read, I think.
Understandable, understandable.
Seem a little odd.
That's fine, that's fine. Go ahead, go ahead.
But I do have another one I think I'll grab for you. Let me read this one, and then I'll grab you one I think that would be really good and really fun. So this next poem is called Still I Rise. Also, I'm reading from the Maya Angelou poems. This book was written in... published in... This one was published in 1986. So the pages have worn, and it's only slightly younger than I am, but all the pages have yellowed with time. So it's still one of my... I haven't creased the spine, but it's a very near thing. I think they have that somewhere on... Yeah, they do. I'll grab this link too, in case anyone wants to read along this poem here. Still I Rise by Maya Angelou. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I rise. I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like moons and like suns, with the certainty of tides, just like hope springing high, still I'll rise. Did you want to see me broken, bowed head and lowered eyes? Shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries. Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard, 'cause I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words, you may cut me with your eyes, you may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air, I'll rise. Does my sexiness upset you? Does it come as a surprise that I dance like I've got diamonds at the meeting of my thighs? Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from a past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I'm a black ocean, leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave, I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise. Now, I am a woman, but this woman, she's her. She is woman. She is a hardworking, beautiful woman of color that just brings a tear to my eye because her struggle, what she fought, proving that she can still be feminine and powerful and beautiful, and not at the behest of the male gaze. Just
what is the quote that she is known for? I believe the quote that I remember hearing about her was reading about Maya Angelou's life makes you wonder why you haven't done twice as much with your life, and grateful that you haven't suffered half as much as she has.
I could believe that.
Yeah. I mean,
I think her number one quote that's almost like a mantra that plays in my own head and probably contributed to why I started streaming in the first place is, if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude. Don't complain. And that's like, it kind of goes with I have that one. I have a John Lennon quote of, in the end, it'll be all right. If it's not all right, it's not yet the end. Right? That plays in my head. So anytime my life gets down, or I'm sad, or like financial ruin or accidents, whatever, malady has attacked my life, you can overcome. You can rise from almost any situation if you put it into your head to do it. There are some things you can't, but that's usually 100% out of your control. But anything that's up here in your head, you can.
I see. I mean, I often think about not a poet at all, but the fantasy author in the book Blade of Tishal makes the distinction between he says that your life is made of scars, that who you are is your scars, and everything in life wounds you until it kills you, but sometimes those heal back stronger, and sometimes they don't. And that's just life. But it is not over until it is over, as they say. It is not over until it is over. It keeps going. Wonderful stuff.
Let me grab you some of her stuff that I think you could definitely read.
I mean, we do not have to commit ourselves exclusively to Maya Angelou for the moment. If you feel like there's a you've mentioned Frost several times. You feel there's a Frost that you would like me to read?
There's so many. There's so many Frost poems that I think your voice would lend incredibly well to. I love his poems on nature in particular. What is the one? It's like the golden leaf something. Hold on, bear with me. Flower Boat is good. Gathering Leaves is good. October. All that glitters is not gold. Frost. Well, J.R. Tolkien also talked about that too. Birches, woodland garden, fireflies in the garden gathering leaves. I keep coming back to that one. That would be funny. Assertive. I think that one's a cute one for you, but it's very, very short. I'll keep looking, but I think you would benefit from reading this one.
All right. I've got my DMs open. I'm looking.
Very short.
That's a cute one.
This one.
I've got it. I'm just typing it in.
I'm grabbing other ones I think you would be good for.
Let me be the one to do what is done. This feels like he was trying to do an exercise in how short he could make something that worked. That's a pretty funny one. That's a cute one. I like it. This is the one that she has just given me that is going to totally cover her up.
Oh no.
Oh no,
That's
Indian. I know. Yes. Oh, hushed October morning mild, thy leaves have ripened to the fall. Tomorrow's wind, if it be wild, should waste them all. The crows above the forest call, tomorrow they may form and go. O hushed October morning mild, begin the hours of this day slow. Make the day seem to us less brief, hearts not averse to being beguiled. Beguile us in the way you know. Release one leaf at break of day, at noon release another leaf. One from our trees, one far away. Retard the sun with gentle mist. Enchant the land with amethyst. Slow, slow, for the grape's sake, if they were all, whose leaves already are burnt with frost, whose clustered fruit may else be lost, for the grape's sake along the wall. Now, Vex, tell me about this poem.
So, Robert Frost was an American author who wrote beautiful poems about America, and this one, I think, his excellent use of like descriptive words, the hush of the October morning mild, the beginning of the hours of the day is slow, the slow sun rising in the sky, and it warms the heart, it makes the day seem less brief, and it beguiles us in the way you know. Release one leaf at break of day, let the day move slowly so I can enjoy it longer, right? At noon release another leaf, again stretch out that time so that each day is filled with a greater sense of accomplishment and joy, and that it lengthens the enjoyment of each day. Enchant the land with amethyst as the sun begins to set, and that purple-coated, soft, purpley light begins to soften everything as day ends. It's just, for the grape's sake, if they were all, those whose leaves were already burnt with frost, the act of frosting the grapes sweetens them. That purpling of the daybreak, the wintry, crispy, frosty chill, is making the fruit of the day, the sunshine that brings all the sugar up through the branches of the grapevines, and condensing them down into the fruit so that they can be harvested. I think it's just, he's longing for a day that is long and sweet, and that sweetness can be like brought into fruition, quite literally, in those grapes that he can harvest and turn into wine or to simply eat and enjoy. He's just, yeah. It's very literal. I don't know, in his own way, he kind of reminds me of Li Bai.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, very, very natural. Very naturist, even. And it's interesting to compare this with the social focus of Maya Angelou that we were just reading. And Maya Angelou was making me think about Dorothy Parker, who is a much shorter author and I think a much less profound author, but is also very socially focused in her poems.
Well, she's a native New Yorker.
Yeah, she is. She is. She is. She is. I'm actually gonna, because it's stuck in my head and I've got to get it out. This is a poem by Parker that I've always enjoyed quite a bit because I think it's very funny. That's the thing about Parker. Parker is a very funny poet. Space Circus, thank you for the resub. Thank you for the resub.
Space Circus liggen streepje just subscribe at Wit Prime.
The way it says underscore. Sorry, it's always funny to me. By the time you swear you're his, shivering and sighing, and he vows his passion is infinite, undying, lady, make a note of this. One of you is lying. Right? It's very funny. Parker is very funny. Parker is very, very funny. And it's an interesting one because I, in my masculinity and my way of focusing on this, my initial thought on this is that, of course, somebody is lying when they say that they can do something infinitely and undyingly. That's impossible. Everything that is about you is going to die with you. Right? But I think that she is much more making the point that it is much more the you swearing that you're his, that particularly in the 20s when Parker was writing, when a woman does swear that she is a man's, she has in fact placed herself in a dangerous subservient position.
Of course, there weren't a lot of options.
There were not a lot of options. And the legal system had some substantially more radical biases than it does today.
This would be what, not silent generation, 1920s?
This would be older. This would be old enough that I don't think we really have a term for it, because silence would be people who were born in the 30s. And we're going to college in the 50s. My
grandmother was a silent generation, I believe.
My grandparents were all greatest generation, and she would be old by the standards of the greatest generation, which is the oldest one we actually have names for. Maybe lost generation?
Generation was 1928 to 1945.
Well, this is when they're born.
Predating that. It would have been greatest generation, 1901 to 1927.
She would have been like the oldest of the greatest generation because she's writing these in the 1920s, in the mid-20s. Which I think sometimes people have called that the lost generation, people who served in World War One, but not as frequently. You know, your what's his name, Hemingway and those fellows.
I think you're right. I'm just looking. I mean, there's so many different people's interpretations, so many different charts. But I think if she was born in anytime in the 1800s, like late 1800s, that would have been lost generation.
Yeah, she's 1893.
And she would have been writing poetry and getting it published during the greatest generation.
Yep.
It looks like in Vanity Fair, I believe. Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
And,
can you imagine being born before toilet paper?
strictly speaking, toilet paper is very old. And actually, this is so for those of you who are thinking about being an anthropologist of any sort or of doing work in certain parts of the world, not every culture has toilet paper as a standard part of their material culture to this day.
I don't know. I'm still coming to the grips knowing that I'm older than Google.
You're going to, at the current way things are going, you're going to outlive it too.
Yeah, they are kind of shoving their
Yeah,
brains in weird ways.
It is the most Simpsons jokes have aged incredibly well, but the part about Google may be evil, but they make a damn fine search engine appears to be one of their worst aged. But this is another Dorothy Parker that is this one's useful. This one's useful. If with the literate I am, impelled to try an epigram, I never seek to take the credit. We all assume that Oscar said it. Oscar here being Oscar Wilde. The nature of the joke being that anytime you think that you've come up with something funny or clever, if you're around people,
Oscar Wilde's already done it.
Oscar Wilde's already done it, which is in the modern day is now The Simpsons did it, of course. If you have a bit that you think is funny, there's a very real chance that it is a Simpsons bit that has already been done. I think this came up on the Discord yesterday that somebody was like referring to a joke and it was like, oh no, that's like the third generation derivative of a Simpsons joke that you're referencing. That is a joke from like 1994. But yes, I've always found this to be a very, very funny very, very funny thing to keep in mind, that people love their fucking Oscar Wilde. People love that old romantic, that old medievalist romantic, Oscar Wilde. But yes. Did you wish to move forward further in time? Seems like you had a lot prepared. Seems like you had.
I just, it's so hard to narrow it down. I did pull up a couple more Robert Frost.
I do see.
Specifically, the Nothing Gold Can Stay. I really want to hear you read that. Whether or not we get to the sound of trees, I don't. It's
Okay, let me put this in and give myself a second to read it. There we go. There we go. Nature's first green is gold, her hardest hue to hold. Her early leaf's a flower, but only so an hour. Then leaf subsides to leaf, so Eden sank to grief. So dawn goes down to day, nothing gold can stay. You're the one who wanted to hear it, so I'm letting you let it sink in for you.
I'm just letting it marinate.
Yeah, I'll leave.
The way that Frost is described, the yellow gold leaves and their inability to hold that hue, right? They go from green to gold to brown so quickly. And they, fall to the ground and they age so rapidly and return to dust, right? They even if they fall off the tree gold, they just return to dust and drift away into nothing so quickly, fertilizing the earth, sweeping through the wind to land somewhere else. It just, so Eden sank to grief, so dawn goes down to day, nothing gold can stay, nothing can last forever. Eden is out of touch, right? Or at least, from the Bible. So dawn goes down to day, like every day ends at some point, right? There's always an ending. There's always a beginning and there's always an ending, or at least anything since the Big Bang.
Yeah, so far, yes.
So far, there is like stars are given birth and then they recede, but perhaps they are reborn, you know, like in the cosmic stardust of things. But this poem so beautifully illustrates that no matter how hard you hold on, like through natural verse, he said like hardest hue to hold, you know, the first green is gold, like your like the wealth of your life. Like you can hold on to money as much as you want, but it only lasts so long. I mean, don't get me wrong, the billionaires out there are doing a really good credit to like holding on to it like the misers they are. But then leaf subsides to leaf, so Eden sank to grief. So dawn goes down to day, and nothing gold can stay. No, you can't, pardon my French, you can't fucking take it with you, right? There's multiple meanings in this poem. There's the poem of like there's an ending to all things. There's an element of you can't hold on and hoard your wealth. You have to let it go. There is a simple just find enjoyment in the course of the day and enjoy the leaf while it lasts, right? There's it's a lot of layered meaning. For me, there is. I mean, I'm sure somebody else would be like, what the hell is she talking about? You know, but to me, he beautifully expressed that so much imagery in just a handful, 8 lines? And that to me is what makes a very good poem, is when anybody can find value in the words and find their own interpretation. That is, to me, what makes a good poem. Some poems are so straight and across the board literal, and they're great because they're very clearly articulating what the poet was trying to express. But these ones that have that subtlety to them, that allow more interpretation from the reader, I find to be of more value and more beauty.
I see. Yes, I see.
If we go back to the, what was it? Frog plop.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah, frog,
very
pond,
literal,
plop.
and
Yeah.
they're cute, but this has a little more substance. I mean, I don't know if I'm being pretentious when I say that. I feel it evokes more emotion from one.
No, I see it. Oh my goodness, thank you for the raid. What were you doing, Adoles? Thank you. This is
Ada Lace. That's a great name. Solid name.
Adela. There we go. What were you doing, What were you doing? We have been reading poetry. Me and Vexx, the sexy librarian tiger. Persona 5 Royale. Is it Royal? I thought, for some reason, it was Royale. The people have been playing it a lot. Because I knew there's been new stuff that's come out. Let me say, so hello to and hello to Glide in Zero, and hello to SFR Cloudy. Hello. Welcome in. Thank you so much for coming. But yes, we've been talking literature and poetry. Vexx is a very intelligent kitty, and is very good at these things. And it's been a wonderful time. It's been very reading centric.
Imagine reading centric, and I'm involved.
Imagine.
Crazy.
Imagine.
Do you want to plug yourself a little bit?
Yeah, go ahead. You know. Oh, you're talking about me.
It's your stream
It
and
is my
your
stream.
raiders, so
It's
yeah,
true.
you.
That's true. Oh my goodness, I forget that I'm supposed to say these things. I can feel myself doling by the moment. I am Almantas, former professor, current VTuber. I'm old man. I love old things, as evidenced by the fact that my favorite poet has been dead for over 1,300 years, and. Yes, that is what I do. I may as well take this as the opportunity. Thank you, Vexx, for being the better streamer than me. This is my debut information. If you would like to submit, so my debut is on Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. U.S. Eastern. Then I'm doing a Machiavelli lecture on the 19th and an anonymous Q&A, and that is the Q&A link on the 21st. I would be excited for everybody who would show up for any or all of those streams. I'm very excited. The Machiavelli lecture has been very fun for me to study and research and work on. I've been learning a lot for that one, and I've peeked at the questions that my community has already given me for the Q&A. They're good. They've got good questions. And by good questions, I mean terrible questions, because Flora got in there and submitted like 4. And she's a gremlin.
I
love Flora.
I have only briefly gotten to know Flora, and I gotta say, one of the coolest, most unique people I've met in a long time.
She's so fun.
100%.
She's so fun. She is so fun.
Little gremlin coded, but I'm here for it.
Yes.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Love our transcendentally lesbian gremlin. That was an excessively clever pun. I didn't need to do that. But yes. Where was I? Where was I in this? So we've been reading Frost.
You were interested in doing more modern poets?
Yes.
I mean, Maya Angelou only just died, so I mean, I don't
Maya
know how
Angelou's
much
quite
more.
She's very modern.
How
she's
much
very,
more modern you want to go?
She's very
but...
modern. I know this is prose, but I'm going to go with a quotation that always gets to me. And this is Frederick Douglass talking about John Brown. This one always gets to me. For those of you who do not know who John Brown is an American historical figure who died in 1860, well, in the antebellum era, and he fought against the cause of slavery. He was an extreme zealot against slavery. It is quite possible that he was something of a contributing factor to the fighting of the American Civil War, though he died before it. There are some very, very interesting quotes about the man. I think very frequently about Malcolm X's quote about John Brown, which was when asked if he would admit any white people into his organizing, he said, "We might allow John Brown," which has always amused me. But this is Frederick Douglass, one of the great American writers, essayists, and thinkers, writing about John Brown. He was a contemporary. They knew each other. His zeal in the cause of freedom was infinitely superior to mine. Mine was as the taper light. His was as the burning sun. Mine was bounded by time. His stretched away to the silent shore of eternity. I could speak for the slave. John Brown could fight for the slave. I could live for the slave. John Brown could die for the slave. I don't know. Something always gets me choked up a little bit about people who are willing to sacrifice greatly in the fight against injustice. That is always something that there's the does anything make you cry consistently? And I'm holding it together right now, but these people who are willing to make great sacrifices on behalf of people who are less privileged than them, who are suffering. Those are moments where I get really choked up. I find something incredibly beautiful in those moments. That's a, I don't know. I think about this a lot, and Frederick Douglass, for his part, is no chump. Historically speaking, he is an incredibly important figure to us Americans. Incredibly beautiful writer, an incredibly influential writer, thinker, political activist, and always struck by John Brown. Always staggered by John Brown. It's very 19th century. This is a very 19th century writing. This the silent shores of eternity. Mine was bounded by time. His was as the burning sun. Vex, do you have thoughts, or do you want to demur here?
I will demur here.
Oh.
I think you... I'm a little wispy-eyed at the moment, so
yeah, that's fair.
I think it's that... Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Those
it's
that fight for humanity. It's just...
It's so good. It's so good. It's so good. There's a lyrical poem I want to look up. Rather, it's song lyrics, but it's the songwriter in question doesn't really do a lot with the music. Let me
I'll even
there we
do
are.
you the justice of posting some of my own poetry I can read.
Oh, some of your poetry. Okay. One of those things that I have wanted to do as a collab with somebody would be them giving me their poetry, and I do calligraphy of it.
Oh, fair enough.
Which one of these would you like me to put up?
We could do them individually, or let's put up lemonade memories.
Yes,
Start there.
that one looks like it'll fit. was honestly my thought. I was looking at these, I was like, this one will fit.
Yes.
Crass consideration, but a consideration nonetheless. And it is up. This is a poem by VexxingCat.
So this is a poem I wrote a couple years ago when I was visiting California. And as I was sitting on a kayak, I was in like wine country, staying with a friend. Unfortunately, this was during COVID. So all of our plans for visiting various parks and going to museums in their entirety were waylaid, but was still able to, enjoy a lake and kayaking out into the water and just enjoying the sunshine coming down. So this one goes. Walking down mutual memories made, I think of you on that faithful day. Spun from lemons, sugar, and sunshine, it reminds me of when I made you mine. Drinking in the image of you tartly sweet, against my tongue sharp, strong, and unique. Drifting on the water, sun sparkling down, I think of you when I drink it now. Yeah, it's aged. I think it's aged all right.
I think it has.
4 minutes until ads. Oh no.
Yes. The timing is not quite right on that one, but...
Well, if you want to snip a picture of the best sort of heresy, I can read that one too.
That one will not conform as nicely to the you got a little bit EE Cummings on this one.
Yeah, I know.
You got a little bit EE Cummings. I figure we talk about this one until the break.
Okay.
And then, so let me think about this one. So, I mean, this is, the common reference that us Americans have is that lemons are associated with bitterness and misfortune. that they are kind of our stand-in for one of our phrases is when life gives you lemon, make lemonade. Lemon being a stand-in for misfortune. When something goes wrong in your life, figure out a way to make something good out of it. Oh, knocked off my microphone. There we go. I'm assuming that is a deliberate relationship that you are invoking here. And
it is full of nostalgia and sadness and joy at love made and love lost.
I see. Yes, that is about what I thought it was about. That is I think I will run the ad early, and then so we can get on to the next one, because we only got 2 minutes left anyway. So we'll run the ad, and then when we come back, we'll go through another one of Vexx's poems or two, and we'll have some more discussion. But yes, give us a moment. Thank you for your patience and forbearance.
Whoa, ads be upon ye. I really like.
And we are back, and we are back. So Vexx had another poem that she would like to share that is a bit longer and has a specific format that does not play well with raw text. So I have taken a screenshot of our Discord DMs in GIMP, and how do you hide? Well, there's a button for hiding all these things. Nope, not F10, not F11. What is the one that's hide everything? Do you know this one? I should have asked you before we started.
I don't.
I don't know why MS Paint is being so uncooperative. That didn't help at all. That didn't help at all. Is there... Because I can't... Paint will not cooperate with me at all. Paint is extremely uncooperative at the moment.
You could open it as a browser image.
Oh, that's so messy. That's so messy. I guess I could just go to Imager and host it, and then F11 there. Or just crop... Actually, yeah, this is the easiest way to do this. It's a bad way to do it, but it's the easiest way.
It's dirty, but fuck it, we're live. Let's go.
Let's go. There we go. Yep. Yep. That was sloppy. That was messy. But so let's kill. Let's change that over to. No, not that. Hold on a second. Window capture, Firefox. There we go. There we go. And let me scale that up a little bit. Is that readable?
I think so.
Let's give it a little bit more space. Crop and cut into your ears a little bit.
That's fine.
Kind of bonk you with your own poem.
Yeah.
Would you like to read it, or shall I? Would you like to hear it in my voice? I should say.
Do you want to take a stab at it?
I can do that.
Sure.
I find that the sounds that my instrument makes are the most beautiful, so smooth, under my domineering hand, slowly stroking and strumming softly, pushing and pulling under my fingertips, making this instrument bend and moan, humming softly before taking command, pushing those notes higher and higher, bending and aching, making me perspire, giving and taking, making notes on this lyre, holding these curves, praying to a different sort of God. This is fun.
Yeah, that wasn't half bad.
Yeah. This is fun.
I think my own reading of it is a little more sensual, but yeah, I think that's a pretty solid read.
Thank you. It is an unfortunate thing that I have learned that I am a less emotive speaker than I think I am, apparently. People frequently give me the feedback that they think I come across as very flat when I'm doing readings. Hello, the Fluffy Dragon. Thank you for the follow. And hello, Hug a Tree, Be a Target. Hello. Good to have you here. And yes, you can.
The Fluffy Dragon is a great name.
It's a good name. It's a very good name. You can see this poem is by Vexx, and you can see that she has deliberately shaped it in a very feminine body curve. Unless I misread, is that not deliberate?
Yeah, that is very deliberate.
Okay, for a second, like when you were quiet, I was like, "Oh no!" I was like, "Oh no!"
No, I was in the middle of doing a Gigantify emote.
It's a huge one.
It's one of the new integrations by Twitch. I still haven't decided.
I need to do something about that.
I like it.
I need to do something about that because debut is coming up in like 2 days. I didn't even know this was coming. I didn't even know about this.
I reduced the price of mine to 10 bits each, but I think you can turn them off. I'm not 100% on that. But I think the Gigantify emote is a pretty mild thing. The chat highlight is also a pretty mild thing. It doesn't even show on the stream. It's just in the chat. And then, but the other one where it's like the celebrate is kind of a lot of emo.
Yeah. So
Koizetsu. Hello.
hello, Koi, and Huggatree. We've been doing poetry. We've been reading poems for hours now. We've been reading and discussing poems for hours now. So this is a poem that Vexx wanted to share by herself. That is, I think I know what it's about. I think.
Well, yeah.
I think it's fairly obvious what it's about. It's about playing the cello.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Spot on the money.
Yeah.
Yes, Huggatree. We covered Herm's statuary, art in motion by Calder, a variety of poetry. I don't know. We squirreled all over the place. So
Yeah, both of us have pretty bad ADHD. The focus has been poetry. So you heard me do a reading of this, which was a pretty raw reading of, as in I didn't really rehearse.
That's fair.
And
Would you like me to read it as I intended?
Go ahead, please do, please.
I'm taking my headset off just so I can focus. So this is titled "The Best Sort of Heresy" by me. I find that the sounds that my instrument makes are the most beautiful, so smooth under my domineering hand, slowly stroking and strumming softly, pushing and pulling under my fingertips, making this instrument bend and moan, humming softly before taking command. Pushing those notes higher and higher, bending and aching, making me perspire, giving and taking, making notes on this lyre, holding these curves, praying to a different sort of God.
Thank you very much, Vexx. Thank you very much. And you can see the contrast between how Vexx and I read this poem, and I thought I was fairly sensual reading this. So, but of course, there are elements of
there
how
are pauses in it, right? There that are, I don't know how to properly express those emotive pauses that are intended in the poem without, I don't know that there's the right punctuation that would assist me in this. Maybe a couple of comments. But
I am a sicko, and my preferred method of indicating pauses is the semicolon. Which, to people who are heavily invested in writing as an art form, I think they often are able to psychoanalyze a surprising amount of things about me from the fact that I have a strong preference towards the semicolon. It tells you certain things about me as compared to other writers. And
I always think of a semicolon. So a comma is like a 1 second pause. I think of a dash as like a 3 second pause, and a semicolon is like an extended pause, and then a full stop is a period for me.
To what people tend to notice about the fact that I have a preference for the semicolon over, in particular, the M dash. I've developed actually not just a disinterest in the M dash, but a outright disgust of the M dash, which is partially because of my editing. I recently edited a 11-page paper that had 107 M dash errors.
Ew.
So I do not like the M dash these days. It is a significant percentage of all of the work I do is fixing M dash errors. I do not like it anymore. Didn't like it much before, but now I dislike it even more. But it is because I am a scientist, by training. Oh, gigantifying again. Thank you very much for the bits again, Vexx.
They're so fun. This is dangerous. You
uh,
need to turn those down so I can spend more. These are great.
But yeah, the semicolon to me is a cognitive pause for a turn in the direction of a sentence, but it is the scientific and analytical one because it is the one that is so short. It is the one that the scientists prefer. It is efficient, both spatially and in terms of typing. It's a pre-made key, unlike the M dash. You don't have to hunt for it in your special character inserts. There are very few rules to it, and so that tells you something about me, right? As a person, that I'm concerned with this spatial optimization. I am concerned with keeping things symmetrical and tight and moving and all of that. That it tells you those things about me. I find that kind of interesting that people have read that into me. I would also say that a thing that you could abuse in this piece to indicate certain forms of emphasis. And I don't have suggestions on the specific ways to use. I've got ideas, but I don't know which ones are the best ones because you are the artist here. You're the artist here. Would be brackets and parentheses. You know, you could the higher and higher. You could higher parentheses and higher close parentheses would be one option.
It's part of the visual appeal as well. Like
Yeah.
the formatting is a big part of it, so
Yep.
I just don't know if I need to separate the lines into more lines and continue the shape, or if like actually adding punctuation would help.
Yeah, you have options here, and of course I don't actually like E.E. Cummings, but I'm E.E. Cummings about this.
You're coming over to Cummings.
A bit in this in this one that you could do some things with parentheses to or scare quotes to imply certain things in this poem, to make certain implications about what your word choices are here. I don't know what those would accomplish. I am spitballing here. This is brainstorming territory. I don't want to be. I am sorry. Am I overcorrecting? Am I over editing you live on the air?
I don't think so. It's interesting to see another interpretation. I mean, I have talked with at length a number of other poets. There was another poet, Cordell. I think I know he spoke French, but I think he was living in Italy at the time. He liked it as is and didn't want to make any changes, and in fact insisted I write more in this vein.
Fair enough.
It's like okay, but
I see.
I think Cummings is a good choice for comparison, as is Shel Silverstein.
Silverstein's a very good choice. Silverstein's that's a very good one. Yeah.
I mean, obviously not the content per se, but the formatting in particular is what I'm referring to, because Shel Silverstein's has a lot of like beautiful, cute, imaginative poetry, which another amazing modern poet, now I think about it. Did she write about the tree? I think
Silverstein?
It was.
Yeah, who was the Giving Tree?
Yeah, the Giving Tree is probably one of the. I would really like Shel Silverstein. I think when she I'm pretty sure he really.
Yeah, he was also he was actually kind of a famous Lothario. Supposedly he had sex with over 1,000 women.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like his work, The Giving Tree, I think when it was originally written, it made a lot of sense, and there was some inherent knowledge that like you can't keep giving away, but like the way it's read now, it just feels like he didn't get the message across. I think a rewriting of like, if you don't stop giving, you will die. You know, that message, while inherent back when it was written, now it doesn't read quite the same way. Like younger audiences aren't getting those clues that like, oh, you can just keep giving, it's gonna be okay. You know, like you want to be always be helpful, be kind, be a giver in society. I think it doesn't read the same.
Yeah, my read of it when I was a child was not that the tree had given itself away to an unsustainable extent, but that this was a kind of natural life course that the tree had gone through. That we all. I was a grim little kid. Let's be clear here. Let's be clear here up front. I was a grim little kid, very very morbid and morose. That like all of us are going to find ourselves whittled down by life. We are all going to age and die, and the giving tree was a life well lived, of having your life be one of helping your friends over the course of it, which I say
There's a
yeah.
certain point though that they have given too much.
Yeah. And I struggled to notice that myself. That probably says some things about some of the psychological illnesses I have, as well as the type of family I came from, where, you know,
I think as a generation, millennials, we were taught to be generous, to give and give and give, and unfortunately, I think at what cost has been the situation we find ourselves now, because we did not stand up for ourselves. Like I'd say in the last 15-20 years, it's, you know, as we've become, you know, older and more decrepit, as we've become, you know, gone into our 30s and our 40s, I find that this generation we're like, fuck this.
Yeah.
it's done, it's time. No, get your ass into retirement, open up some space, let's get some Gen Xers up there, get up on the board, and we're tired of giving. Tired of giving and giving and giving.
Martin Garrix, thank you for the follow. And yes, Koi, I am fully willing to admit that the reading I have is atypically optimistic. In no small part, like I said, because I was already primed from the get-go, and from everything I had been taught about life up to that point, that the death is coming regardless. That it wasn't a choice between having a long, sustainable life and giving everything to the boy. It was a choice between giving things to the boy or not giving things to the boy. The death part was going to come regardless. Yes, there is. Yes, you can post. There are two art channels on my Discord. Please do be mindful of the rules on my Discord, though, if you would please. Yeah, of course, you and I. But yes.
Would you like a different sort of poem?
We can do a different sort of poem. I mean, I've got one that will end us on when we're ready for that. But yeah, let's, if you've got another one that you'd like, is this also by you?
It's kind of longer. This might have to be.
Was this also a Vexx original?
Yeah, it is a Vexx original. Yeah.
Let me see what it looks like when I put it into pure text. Oh, that's fine. I'll just have to move the text box a little bit. I will. This one will cover my face, but it is your poem, so that's okay. Would you like me to read it or you?
I think that this one be fine for either of us to read. And you have one more poem that you particularly want to read. Maybe I should read this one.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. So this is by yours truly, and it's titled Peculiarities in Firmament. Peculiar, isn't it? How the world is so careless and callous with technological eyes, eyes unseen watching our every move with digital precision, recording triumphs and failures with equal aplomb, words and deeds jotted down on your permanent life record. What if tomorrow the internet stopped working? What if technology suddenly stopped working? What if, when the day breaks, we have to set down our phones and keyboards? Would we then walk out our doors and blink up at the sun? Would we then pick up our pens and paper to jot down our thoughts? Would we then finally say the words that mean something around us? Send the words in each other letters to remind ourselves that we are not alone.
Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff.
It definitely needs some like editing and revising, but that's in its just pure raw form. I about 3, maybe 4 years ago was so angry at the internet. Well, not the internet specifically, but how people use the internet, like the meta platforms, specifically Facebook, like the jockeying for, you know, who has the saddest story and woe is me, and
Yes.
there's so much politics that is like rampant, and misinformation is being absolutely bombarded, and it hasn't really gotten better. But I just wonder, would we return to writing those stories and those letters and those things that give life meaning to our fellow man if we had access? Because I think we've lost, like, get on my little fucking soapbox for a second. I think we as human beings have lost our sense of community and communication with one another, and those warm, heartfelt thoughts and ideas are lost through text. So much can be interpreted through written word by hand, like the shakiness of the pen, the teardrops that fall, the things that you're missing in a text DM from you to another person. I think we have forgotten how to properly communicate our feelings, and a letter wasn't 30 seconds across the intergalactic space-time, right? It was a week, 2 weeks, a month by post. And so you had to think about what you were going to say, and you didn't like fail to convey your feelings, right? Like there's you took the time to write out, and you might cross it out and rewrite it multiple times until you had the fullness of your feeling, and no one could mislay what you were trying to say in your words. And I think we don't communicate like that anymore, and it makes me very sad, because would we even know how to talk to our common man if we didn't have technology that we do now? Like, people have just forgotten how to speak to one another, how to enrich your life by interweaving it with others.
I will say that
Yes.
this is a topic I've thought about from the sociological angle quite a bit. The more kind of empirical angle, and we don't need to get in it now because it won't be very literary. It will not be very literary. There's agreement and disagreement from me on things that you have said. And almost broke my own stream. Did break myself. Gotta unbreak myself here. Whoop. There we go. I don't know why it plays like that, but it does.
Boy, I think the allowance of the typewriter is still in this context. I think that people have to write, rewrite, and like edit out their content many times on a typewriter. I have one. I enjoy it. In fact, it's very fun and like very brain tickly to use it. But I meant the taking the time. That's the part sociologically that I think we have forgotten to use. To take the time to write out our thoughts deliberately and with more context than like, hey yo, what good?
I will say that my fundamental thing in there is the I think you're when I think about what happens with online communication, I actually think the most outstandingly interesting thing is that you can always find a sort of isolated little community that validates any insane hypothesis you have, and that's a dangerous thing. That is a potentially very dangerous thing. So if you don't mind, Vex, I've trimmed the lyrics to a song to fit into a reasonable space.
Fair.
It's not the entire song, it's about one half of it. By
if I get
Phillips.
smushed, it happens.
Yeah, I'm gonna get covered up like halfway. You're gonna get bonked. This is about, but this otherwise, like the whole song would be off the page. And I could have set it up to scroll, but I forgot how to do that. So I didn't set it to scroll. This is by Phillips. He is a singer-songwriter from the 60s, a folk musician. I feel comfortable reading his stuff as poetry because he just kind of strummed his guitar kind of arbitrarily. And why is it all caps? Why is it all caps? Hold on, let me check something here, because that shouldn't be all caps. Properties. Did I hit something that changed it into all? I did. There we go. Turn off that text transform. Let me... There's no place in this world where I'll belong when I'm gone. And I won't know the right from the wrong when I'm gone. And you won't find me singing on this song when I'm gone. So I guess I'll have to do it while I'm here. I won't see the golden of the sun when I'm gone. And the evenings and the mornings will be one when I'm gone. I can't be singing louder than the guns while I'm gone. So I guess I'll have to do it while I'm here. All my days won't be dances of delight when I'm gone. And the sands will be shifting from my sight when I'm gone. Can't add my name into the fight while I'm gone. So I guess I'll have to do it while I'm here. And I won't be laughing at the lies when I'm gone. And I can't question how or when or why when I'm gone. Can't live proud enough to die when I'm gone. So I guess I'll have to do it while I'm here. I really like Phillips as a singer. I really like his songs. If I were prone to karaoke, I don't know how I would do this one, but there are some songs I might do by him at a karaoke night. I think this is a particularly beautiful little meditation. I think we've had a couple of pretty morbid poems while we've been going on here, and this one's pretty high on that.
I don't know about morbid. I don't think we covered anything into the macabre so
no,
much. But
no, but definitely
some social coded ones. But yeah,
definitely some death going on here. I've got a couple of tears. So I am low on energy right now.
Likewise.
Do you have a raid target that you would like, Vexx? Because we are past my usual end time, so I'm out of normal raid targets, and I would feel insane going from this stream to Clonk.
Have you ever seen Neff Durath the Lore Keeper?
Only very briefly. Only very briefly. Give me the spelling. Give me the spelling. That sounds like a great one.
I think he is currently reading Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brendan Sanderson. So,
Perfect.
I will DM you here. That is his incredibly long name. So yes.
That my debut. So we are going to end here. That is my debut. That is my debut schedule. Again, it'll be Monday at 2 p.m. Thank you, and if you please submit questions for the Q&A. I will be very sad if it is an empty Q&A, if I don't have at least a couple dozen questions to go through. I'll be very sad and lonely. So debut, I will be going over who I am, what my plans are, and how I got to where I am. And then on the 19th, I'm doing a Machiavelli lecture. That is a repayment of debts to Coron the Coffee Crow. He wanted to learn about the Renaissance, and so I decided to talk about Machiavelli and his legacy as an intellectual and philosophical history, and then obviously the Q&A. So we are going. Oh, and hold on, the most important thing. Shout out to VexxingCat. I know that her name is in the title and that you have been listening to her speak, but this is VexxingCat. She is lovely. She is lovely. And that is a good one. That's a good one. And do you have anything else you'd like to say before we head out, Vexx?
I would just like to convey what an absolute pleasure was to discuss poetry and art and sculpture with you today. I think it was fascinating, and it was both an opportunity for me to express my love of poetry, and also a learning opportunity for learning opportunity for just more insight into how you think. I had never heard of Li Bao before, and so I'll have to look more into their content. I'm always fascinated by learning about new authors, and granted, my particular internal brain library isn't very well organized.
Who's this?
I think it's just because there's so much content up there, and it's kind of like, in normal ADHD fashion, I'll be like, all right, thought, go out there and grab the information that I want. And then unfortunately, I don't necessarily have those thoughts organized in a way that makes sense. It's like, oh, this is Petrarchan poetry. That is under sonnets. But that's also under Shakespeare, so it's like a little rifling through the brain to find the information that I'm actually looking for.
Gotcha. So that, yeah, I mean, it's very difficult to organize those things. It's very difficult to have an organized mind about those things. I feel like it's only really possible if you, for me at least, I have to write everything down. I have to write out my thoughts in order to organize them. And yes, oh my goodness, it has been so lovely having all of you here again. I will be there's our two raid, that's the default raid message of the geezer raid. We can use the poetry raid here. I need to take a little bit of a break, do some dishes and such afterwards. Later on tonight, I will be on my server playing Overwatch, probably with viewers, with community members. But I do kind of need to not be at a computer for at least some part of tonight.
I would like to eat something. Yeah, I feel that. I feel it. Yeah.
But thank you all for being here. Thank you all for being on this journey with me as I go into my next stage as a VTuber, where I actually have to keep track of where my face is relative to the camera. And it's been lovely. It's been incredible. It's been an amazing now year of doing this, of being on this camera with all of you, and I've met so many wonderful, intelligent, creative, incredible people through this, and there's nothing I love more in life than meeting exciting new people. So thank you all, and have a good night.